What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9RJ, Chapter 201, It Won't Work Anymore. On the boat, 5 elders, Auntie, Kaido and others looked at all this with cold eyes, and felt that it was obviously not the way to go on like this. Especially the Aunt and Kaido, at this moment, their faces are even more black. Whether it is a member of the Charlotte family, or beasts pirates as barbarians, the Flying Six Cells, they are their important members and powerful assistants. Just keep dying under the hands of Ulquiorra and Galio, can they bear it? Especially the aunt, they are all her children. Although she doesn't have much affection for her children, they are her own flesh and blood after all. Sparrow, Owen, Opella, my sons. Damn it, damn it. The aunt snarled. Mom, don't worry, come on, bring up the dessert cake from Mermaid Island for Mom to eat. Baron Dandan hurriedly persuaded. He did what he liked and hurriedly brought the cakes and desserts from Mermaid Island. Otherwise, if this continues, the aunt's bulimia may not be recurring immediately. Cut. I knew this a long time ago, so I should have been on the court from the beginning. Sparrow and the others, their strength is already rubbish. Charlotte Cracker couldn't help but speak. He was full of disdain for the strength of his brothers. He felt that it was time to show his strength in front of his mother. Mom, let me play. Charlotte Cracker pleaded. Tons, that won't work. Cracker, it's not yet time for your dessert 3 stars to play. The aunt said frantically as she stuffed dessert and cake into her mouth. According to the plan they had made jointly with 5 elders and beasts pirates, the last wave of the main players on the field could not be as sloppy as before. Must have a plan, join hands together. But look, Mom, if you continue to drag on, your children won't be able to hold it at all. Are you going to watch your children die one by one? Charlotte Cracker opened his mouth. Asshole, of course not. Mom roared when she heard the words. The cakes and desserts in my hand are not fragrant anymore. At the same time, beasts pirates. Barbarian. No, Lousy's hardworking barbarian. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Seeing that the savage tyrant he had been working so hard to create was destroyed in the hands of Ulquiorra and Galio, the beast Kaido was so angry that his lungs would explode. Ye Chen, Lousy wants you to pay the price of blood. Jin, Quinn, you are ready, it's time for you to play. Kill me Galio and the guy named Ulquiorra. Kaido almost growled. From his masculine roar, you can hear that his old injury has long since healed. This isn't very good. After all, before we came, the 3 parties agreed to act together. We acted alone, which would destroy the previously agreed joint plan, not to mention, moreover, it may cause the Black Crow pirates. Take advantage of it. Plague Quinn said. Don't look at him as fat and nasty, but in reality, he is a beast's pirates military commander. Quinn was right. Jin was also very calm, and cautiously persuaded Kaido for fear of annoying Kaido. Fool. Kaido heard the words, and sure enough, an angry breath emanated from his nostrils. It seemed that he was going to run wild soon. Upon seeing this, Jin and Quinn looked at each other, not knowing what to do for a while. Fortunately, at this moment, the Ants pirate group actually sounded the clarion call to launch an attack. This special horn sound was agreed upon by the 3 of them before. Once the 5 elders sounded the offensive horns, the other 2 parties must immediately respond with horns, indicating that they had not encountered any accidents and could launch a general offensive together. However, what I never expected was that there was nothing on the 5 elders' side. The Ants' side, the offensive horn had already sounded. At the same time, the 3 main cadres of the anti-pirates, the Desert 3rd General Star, and a few powerful combatants, including the Dandan Baron, Capone Bej and others, have been from the master the ship Queen's chanting strode down. Among them, headed as Charlotte Snickers, the cookie minister of the 3 stars of desserts. His face was arrogant, and it seemed that Ye Chen and his party were bound to win. Seeing that, the ant can't help it anymore, why should we continue to bear it? Go F*** King promise. Jin, Quinn, lead our last elite members, and teach them a little lesson. Don't worry about it. If you really lose to Ye Chen, I will do it myself at that time. Kaido growled again. Regardless of the previous agreement, the ant sent out the main combat force first and launched an offensive against Ye Chen and his party. How can he bear it? Could it be that you still have to watch? The ant has robbed all the credit for it. There is a reason why Kaido thinks this way. Now, on the entire battlefield, they have thousands of people, but Ye Chen and his party have only 7 people. Except for Ye Chen and Asides, everyone else has been entangled by their men and horses. At this time, they sent their main combat forces to deal with Ye Chen and Asides. Although Ye Chen and Asides are unfathomable in their strengths, Kaido does not believe that Jin, Quinn, and the 3 desert stars of the ant pirates are vegetarians. Especially Jin and Charlotte Katakuri, the 2 of them have at least half the strength of the Sea Emperor. Even if they join forces, it is still not enough to fight Ye Chen, so don't worry. As long as the situation is not right, he, the ant and 5 elders will all take action in time. This is what they agreed before. A few of them are the last trump cards against Ye Chen. Therefore, when it is not a last resort, they will not shoot so early. Especially the 5 old foxes, 5 elders. Everyone thinks that they are just relying on the power of the world government, and they are proud and immortal, but only a few people know that their strength is deeply hidden. However, they usually send members of the Marine or CP organization to solve their problems, and they rarely do anything by themselves. Yes. At this point, Jin and Quinn had no choice but to retreat with their orders. On the main ship Marine, 5 elders was startled when they heard the sound of the offensive horn suddenly sounded. Who, before we 5 elders sounded the horn, arbitrarily sounded the horn? It seems like, Ant. Zon. Chapter 202. Just when the 5 elders hadn't figured out who was the first to launch the offensive horn, a high-pitched horn sounded. Beast's pirates even issued an offensive horn, responding to the Ant pirates. Quote? Asshole. What are you doing with Kaido? After regaining consciousness, 5 elders jumped into thunder. I said, it is always unreliable to cooperate with the pirates, especially with the murderous Ant and Kaido. Curly hair 5 elders closed the code in his hand and vomited. Come on, don't you work with the 2 of them, who do you want to work with, and the redhead Shanks? The blonde 5 elders dissatisfied. At the beginning, he strongly agreed to cooperate with the Ant pirates and Beast's pirates. Redhead Shanks may not work with us against Ye Chen, but at least, he is more reliable than Andy and Kaido. The curly hair 5 elders is also getting angry. Okay, stop arguing between you two. Bald 5 elders snapped. Since now, Andy and Kaido have disregarded the agreement and launched the general offense first, we can't just sit idly by. Launch the horn and respond to them. Broadsword 5 elders groaned. It can only be so. White-haired 5 elders started. Fujitora smiled. Green Bull, it's time for you to appear on the stage. Don't you think you are qualified to be the new Marine Admiral? Now the opportunity is here, let us see the strength of the 2 of you. After the voice fell, in a corner of the conference room, 2 middle-aged men wearing marine capes, swish, to their feet. Don't worry, I won't let you down. The blind Fujitora said proudly. Is it finally possible to do it? I have been waiting for a long time. Ye Chen, the strongest in the world. Oh, everyone in the world thinks so, but I don't think so. With long hair, like the Green Bull of the Beatles in the 70s and 80s, he said arrogantly. The main fighting force on 5 elders' side is actually Fujitora and Green Bull. If Ye Chen learns about this, I'm afraid I will be surprised. The center of the horror bark. Ye Chen and Acid stood side by side, both of them stood on the sidelines with cold eyes, watching the fierce battle that took place around them. Ulquiorra, Galio, Doflamingo, Luo, Perona and the zombie army led by her form a line of defense. This line of defense is so strong that if thousands of people on the other side keep attacking, they just can't break through this line of defense. Moreover, under the fierce attack, the opposing team continued to fall. Either he was killed by the huge mountain-like Galio, or died under the black Cerro of Ulquiorra, and many people died tragically under the 5-color strings of Doflamingo. Doflamingo may not be as strong as the first 2, but his methods of killing are extremely cruel and frightening. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As for Luo and Perona, the 2 of them didn't kill many people, but their fruiting ability was very special, which could instantly make countless people lose their combat ability. Therefore, even if it is the 2 of them, they cannot be underestimated. The fierce battle cannot even be described as unprecedented. Almost all the combat power of the New World 2 large pirate regiments, plus the world government army and hundreds of pacifists. Add up to 4 or 5,000 people. The fierce fighting between the 2 sides is even worse than the top war. However, what was even more outrageous was that only 5 people were dispatched on the other side of the battle. There are 2 others, still standing by. But even so, the 2 sides still maintained an evenly matched situation. Even Ulquiorra and Galio have joined forces and have a slight upper hand. However, at this moment, the horn suddenly sounded. What happened? After hearing the sound of the horn, Acids couldn't help but ask. I think it should be the horn they are preparing to launch a general offensive. Ye Chen said. They probably want to use continuous offensives so that we don't have a chance to breathe. It's a pity that they made a mistake in this wave of wishful thinking. Ye Chen continued. Oh, Ace Day nodded, feeling that Ye Chen's words made sense. Indeed, not long after the first 2 waves of offenses were launched, the 3rd wave of offenses has already arrived. No matter who it is, no one can bear it, right? Even the Revolutionary Army cannot withstand such continuous attacks. However, for Ye Chen, this is nothing. The strength has reached his realm, no matter how many miscellaneous fish, it is just one move. Indeed, Ye Chen's full firepower, an evening elephant or a burn move, is enough to trample all those inadequate guys into meatloaf or burn them to ashes. Even if Acids displays the Ice Land Admiral Army, it can clear most of the miscellaneous fish in an instant. The reason for not doing this is that Ye Chen wanted to give Doflamingo more opportunities to exercise. Ulquiorra and Galio are indeed strong enough, but they have more room for improvement. Let alone Doflamingo and Luo, these 2 are just a piece of uncut jade, they need to be sculpted in order to become a tool. Sure enough, as Ye Chen said, the first horn sounded, but it hadn't fallen yet, and the second and third horns sounded. At the same time, a group of people came down on the boat docked on the seashore. The number of this group of people is far less than the number of the previous 2 waves of attack. It is the least, only 20 or 30 people. But a discerning person can tell at a glance. This is the real combat power of the opponent. It's Kaido Curry. Did Jin and Quinn go out in person? Great. Unexpectedly, they shot it so soon, I thought they would not take it until at least half of us were killed or injured. More than half of the casualties. By then, the battle is about to come to an end, right? Makes sense. By the way, who are those 2 guys? New members of Marine. I don't know either. It doesn't matter who they are, Kaido Curry and Yenjin Jin have taken action anyway. This battle will not last long. Yup, yes. On the battlefield, desperate people who fought hard but couldn't break the 5-person defense line anyway, seeing this scene were shocked by the aura of these 20 or 30 people. They felt that if Kaido Curry and Jin, half-footed powerhouses who had already stepped into the Sea Emperor's rank, would take their own actions, it would only be a matter of time before they would break through the defense line. Chapter 203. Sure enough, as soon as they appeared on the stage, the situation on both sides changed dramatically. Doflamingo, Luo, and Perona, who could barely hold on, after they appeared, the situation has come a year. Doflamingo's birdcage was forcibly torn through a gap by a mysterious flame, Luo's operating field was directly exploded by a trident. Of course, the person whose body part had been changed did not recover and still had no combat effectiveness. As for Perona's ghost, the end was even worse, being directly squeezed into juice by pressure. Fortunately, the ghost is a spirit body that has already died once and will not die again. Even if they are squeezed into juice, they can recover as long as they are given a period of time. The 5 lines of defense were suddenly defeated by 3. Only 2 lines of defense, Ulquiorra and Galio, remain intact. But if the 20 or 30 people who came into the field finally attack the 2 of them together, it is estimated that their 2 lines of defense will not last long. Although Ulquiorra and Galio can't be easily defeated, but if they are entangled by powerful people like Kaido Curry, Blaze Jin, Fujitora Smile, and Green Bull, they also have no time to take care of others. Not to mention blocking the thousands of pirates and peacemakers. The situation seems a bit bad. But even so, Ye Chen is still calm. As for Acedes, Ye Chen is not in a hurry, and she is naturally not in a hurry. Finally, seeing the 3 of Doflamingo, Luo, and Perona, I couldn't hold on anymore. At this time, Ye Chen spoke again and said, Acedes, it's time for us to play. Okay. Acedes, who had been waiting for this opportunity, just nodded calmly after hearing this. Acedes has noticed several powerful enemies with his slightly revealed skills after the 20 or 30 people appeared on the stage just now. Among them, there was the guy with a mask and goggles peeping, wearing black clothes, a pile of black wings behind his back, and the guy who was always surrounded by flames. And the man who uses the trident is also very powerful. There is also the beauty who is very beautiful, tall and big, but has a tough shot, and can blow everything she touches, including her soul, into juice, and she has good strength. As for the others, either did not do it or did it, but Acedes did not take it seriously. Indeed, the 3 people targeted by Acedes are Yenjin Jin, Charlotte Katakuri and Charlotte Smoky. It can be regarded as the most powerful 3 of them. However, the most fierce clamor is not them, but another person. Ye Chen, led my Minister of Biscuit, Charlotte Cracker, come to meet you. Charlotte Cracker, taking the lead, rushed to Ye Chen and Acedes from the breakthrough line of defense, yelling. Relying on his fruit power, he can make hard biscuits and block all attacks, so he didn't put Ye Chen in his eyes. That's fine, after all, the last time his mother was beaten by Ye Chen, he was not there. Look at me, double roll pretzel. As soon as Charlotte Cracker came up, he attacked Ye Chen fiercely. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Cracker, don't. Charlotte Katakuri tried to stop her arrogant brother, but of course he didn't succeed. Ye Chen, die, Charlotte Cracker yelled. Seeing Ye Chen indifferent, he even thought that Ye Chen was afraid of himself. I'll deal with him. Upon seeing this, Acedes said coldly. She remembered that this guy had shot Galio just now, although he didn't suffer, but he didn't take advantage. In other words, in Acedes' impression, this guy is not enough to enter her eyes. However, the less powerful the person, the more arrogant. The real powerhouse is more low-key. Of course, it is not absolute, and there are exceptions. For example, Anti and Kaido. However, the 2 of them are another matter. After all, where is their fame? Everyone in New World is very familiar with their names. They want to be low-key, can they be low-key? No, let me do it. Acedes wanted to take a shot, but was stopped by Ye Chen. At the same time, Charlotte Cracker, who was not blocked by anyone, had turned into a yellow figure and rushed in front of Ye Chen. 0 Find Flowers 0. His 2 arms covered with armament Haki, like pretzels, blasted towards Ye Chen's head. Powerful enough to destroy any hard object. However, in the eyes of Ye Chen, it is ridiculous that children play house. Slightly sideways, Ye Chen easily avoided Cracker's offense, allowing Cracker to return without success. Table Lotus. Immediately afterwards, Ye Chen took advantage of the 8-gate state had not been lifted, directly displayed the lotus flower, flew a gorgeous kick, and kicked towards the Cracker. This foot is not only gorgeous, but the speed is incredible. Even faster than Kizaru's light kick. So fast. At such a close distance, even if Charlotte Cracker saw Ye Chen kick out, his brain would react, but his body couldn't react. ... 0. He couldn't avoid this kick at all. Not good. When everyone saw this, they sweated for Charlotte Cracker. Bang. Almost at the same time, this kick had already been kicked on Charlotte Cracker's body. Hiss. People fell into a sigh of relief, and the whole space wanted to be quiet. Everyone is worried about Charlotte Cracker. After all, everyone felt that he was really reckless and ignorant when he went to single out Ye Chen. However, there was a smile on Charlotte Cracker's face. Oh, that's it, you can't even break my defense. Charlotte Cracker gets more and more proud as she speaks. The hardness of my hard biscuit can't be broken even if it covers Armament Haki's attack. How could it be possible with your kick? However, Charlotte Cracker's words came to an abrupt end. Do I need Armament Haki to deal with you? Ye Chen's cold voice sounded. With that, Ye Chen increased his strength. Crackle. The hard biscuits covered on Charlotte Cracker's body were like porcelain, shattering one after another. Hard biscuit, that's it. The Minister of Biscuit, that's it. Charlotte Cracker, that's it. Die. Li. Chapter 204. Dessert 3 stars, that's it. Die. With Ye Chen's scream, endless Reiatsu burst out from his right foot kicking Charlotte Cracker. This Reiatsu is simply terrifying. Endless, and it contains terrifying heat. Charlotte Cracker's biscuits are really hard, even if Luffy uses second gear, third gear and Armament Haki's violent pounding, they can't break it. In the end, relying on the attributes of the Big Stomach King, he ate all the biscuit soldiers made by Charlotte Cracker before defeating him. But Ye Chen, why bother to deal with Charlotte Cracker? In the face of absolute power, nothing is hard enough. Besides, it's just cookies. Boom. The power gushes out. 243. The world seems to have lost its color. The hard biscuits on Charlotte Cracker's body were suddenly shattered, and Charlotte Cracker's body was also bursting every inch. This unmatched power is simply not something he can bear. What? Accompanied by a screaming scream and Charlotte Cracker's distorted and frightened face, he disappeared into the air, as if he never existed again. Isn't it? Everyone took a breath. How powerful is it to make a person disappear out of thin air? That power even shredded every cell of Charlotte Cracker. Everyone was dumbfounded. Whether it is the people of Beast's pirates or the army of the world government, they came with the ant pirates after all. Others may not know Charlotte Cracker, but how could they not? He is one of the 3 stars of dignified desserts. But it's the 3 stars of dignified desserts, you can't help Ye Chen kick it. When people think about it, they all feel scared. But having said that, Ye Chen can be said to be the weakest Gecko Moria in defeating 7 warlords of the sea, and he needs to use the 8 inner gates Shishiong. But to kill Charlotte Cracker, you only need to use the Lotus Flower. Could it be said that the strength of 7 warlords of the sea should surpass the dessert 3 stars? This is of course impossible. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. In fact, the strong one is Gecko Moria, but the shadow of a seeds. If Gecko Moria hadn't taken the shadow of a seeds in the end, Ye Chen would need to use Shishiong to deal with him, and it would be enough for Ye Chen. After killing Charlotte Cracker, Ye Chen looked provocatively towards the beach. The 5 elders, Auntie, Kaido and others on the boat on the seashore were naturally angry when they saw this. Especially the ant, it is even more furious. The others are okay, they are even more shocked by the strength of Ye Chen. It seems that their decision to join forces against Ye Chen was correct. Otherwise, there would be no chance of winning on either side of them alone. This Ye Chen has grown at an amazing speed. 5 elders sighed. Cut. He can only be arrogant now. As far as I know, neither Katakuri nor Yanzin is vegetarian. Besides, we also have Fujitora and Green Bull. The blonde 5 elders snorted coldly. He is the most dissatisfied with Ye Chen among 5 elders. If it hadn't been agreed in advance that the finale of them must be the last, he would have planned to play with Fujitora and Green Bull just now, and go to meet Ye Chen for a while. Well, no matter how strong Ye Chen is, it can kill Charlotte Cracker in seconds, but it won't be so easy to deal with the strong like Fujitora and Green Bull. That is, you know, the strength of Fujitora and Green Bull, according to them, is comparable to that of Akainu Sakazuki. In this regard, the other 5 elders did not deny the blonde 5 elders. They felt that Ye Chen alone, even with the addition of a seeds, the 2 would join forces to deal with Fujitora, the Green Bull, as well as the disaster Jin and Katakuri, it would certainly not be so easy. At the same time, I saw my brother Charlotte Cracker was killed by Ye Chen with the kick of Ye Chen. Charlotte Katakuri, the older brother, was shocked but angry. He is different from Charlotte Smokey, who is very indifferent to his rivalry. He has always cared for his younger brothers and sisters. He is also one of the few in the Charlotte family who cares about his relatives. Ye Chen, you actually killed my brother Cracker, I want you to pay for my life. Katakuri yelled, waved the trident in his hand, and stabbed Ye Chen 0. Oh, Katakuri. Although Ye Chen saw Katakuri for the first time, he had already heard of his name, and the weapon he used was a trident. Therefore, naturally you will not admit your mistakes. For Katakuri, Ye Chen still appreciates it. After all, he is the second in command of the ant pirates, and his strength is below the ant. When sparks are flying, Katakuri's trident stabbed and was easily blocked by Ye Chen with Ryūjin Jakka. Don't look at it, it was just a simple fight, but it surprised Katakuri secretly. He felt that he was holding the right hand of the trident, as if he was struck by lightning, paralyzed. This is something that hasn't happened since he got the glutinous fruit. After all, glutinous fruits have many abilities to change their physique, freely change their body shape, make substances, and store objects. In other words, his body can adjust its flexibility and remove most of the strength the body has suffered in secret. But even so, Ye Chen's random parry stabbed Katakuri's entire arm numb. This is why he was so shocked. Fight against me, dare to be in a daze. Ye Chen saw Katakuri's shocked look, and slashed it with a knife on his backhand. In the same way, it seems a very simple one, but only the person involved knows the terror contained in it. Although this knife does not have the power to destroy the world, it hides a great murderous intent. Even if it is the hardest object in the world, it will be easily cut away by this knife. In addition, this knife seems to be slow, but in fact it is fast to the extreme. It is impossible for ordinary people to avoid it at all. However, Katakuri is no ordinary person. At the same time that Ye Chen's wrist moved lightly, his people had already taken advantage of the counterattack force of the knife just now to jump back, and it was easy to avoid Ye Chen's. One knife. Oh, high-level observation Haki. Ye Chen said lightly when he saw this. To be honest, he was still a little surprised. Unexpectedly, Katakuri would avoid him so easily. Chapter 205. Had it not been for the knowledge of the original work, Ye Chen would have almost forgotten that Katakuri's best Conqueror's Haki is armament Haki, even enough to predict the future. Armament Haki, to the point of predicting the future, it is not an exaggeration to say that it is a high-level observation Haki. Katakuri did not respond to Ye Chen's words, but another cold voice rang out. Katakuri, you don't want to take all the credit. Ye Chen, look at the move. Flame sword. I don't know when, the very mysterious Jin has already arrived in front of Ye Chen. He pulled out the saber around his waist, and the sharp knife was immediately covered by a mysterious flame. He slashed at Ye Chen with a sword, and suddenly, the sword gas formed a jet of flame and slashed at Ye Chen fiercely. Haha, you are here just right, let's go together. Ye Chen laughed loudly at this. The backhand is also cut out with a single knife. The terrifying Reiatsu suddenly surging out, and the sword aura also formed a jet of flame, facing the sword aura that Jin had cut at him. Boom. The collision of the two flames and sword air caused a big explosion. At this time, it was already dawn, and Jung 09 was the darkest hour before dawn, but the terrifying three-masted sailboat was illuminated by the flames of this explosion. Brighter than during the day. The raging heat even formed a hot tornado that swept the entire battlefield. This tornado, for the strong, is naturally unaffected, but for the trash cannon fodder, it is a disaster. Suddenly, countless fish cannon fodder were swept into the sky by the heat tornado. It's not that when you died in the terrifying heat, you fell alive when you fell to the ground. The three of Doflamingo, Luo, and Perona, who had been under increased pressure because of Katakuri and the others, immediately felt a lot easier. Asshole, did you use my attack? Jin saw through everything immediately. Ye Chen used his attack to create a hot tornado and relieve the pressure on his companions. This made Jin feel that he was being used by Ye Chen, and was very dissatisfied. However, before Jin and Katakuri attacked Ye Chen again, there were two more voices, one after another. Fight! I touched your body, Ye Chen. Charlotte Smokey's voice sounded behind Ye Chen, and one of her fingers had touched Ye Chen's shoulder. Jin, my Quinn is here to help you. Brachiosaurus bomb. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At the same time, on top of Ye Chen's head, Quinn, who was like a hill, also smashed down from the air. These two are considered members of the Ant Pirates and Beasts Pirates, except for Katakuri and Jin, the strongest existence. Naturally, their attacks cannot be underestimated. Especially Charlotte Smokey's ability to squeeze fruit is known for its horror. She can squeeze everything she touches into juice. Even a ghost. Don't look at Charlotte Smokey as just a finger, resting on Ye Chen's shoulder. However, due to the huge difference in body size, a finger of Smokey is equivalent to a head of Ye Chen. At the same time, with Smokey's effort, Ye Chen also felt a terrifying pressure, squeezing him from all directions, making him inevitable and inevitable. Be squeezed into delicious juice. I just don't know how the fruit juice squeezed from the strongest in the world tastes, the slave thinks it must be very delicious. Smokey said, licking his tongue. If it weren't too huge, Ye Chen felt that she was indeed a rare beauty. Especially those long and slender legs can definitely fascinate a lot of men. It's a pity that she is too big. This makes Ye Chen not interested in her at all. Then you can try it. Ye Chen said, with a sinister smile on his face. Seeing the dangerous smile on Ye Chen's face, Smokey faintly felt that something was not good, but at this time it was too late to stop. Boom. A horrible Reiatsu, or energy, rose into the sky. This energy is so rich that even it has become substantial. It turned into countless red steam, wrapped around Ye Chen's body. Ye Chen at this time looks like a god. Yes, Ye Chen finally displayed the ultimate meaning of the 8 inner gates technique, Night God. The reason why it is not called Night Guy, is naturally because Ye Chen is the person who displayed the ultimate profound meaning. Might Guy is called Night Guy when displayed, and Ye Chen is called Night Guy when displayed. Moreover, the ultimate meaning of 8 Inner Gates technique was slightly improved by Ye Chen himself. The original Night Guy, once displayed, will exhaust the player's vitality as the price, and eventually cause the player's vitality to dry up and die. But after Ye Chen's improved Night God, the side effects are not so big. It no longer consumes vitality, but instead consumes a lot of Reiatsu. Although the Reiatsu that needs to be consumed is very scary, but Ye Chen has the artifact Ryūjin Jakka in his hands, and there is no need to worry about Reiatsu at all. In this way, the side effects of Night God are no longer so great, and the power is not reduced at all. You know, Might Guy used this trick to injure Madara 6 times and kick his breastbone to pieces. Therefore, Ye Chen turned into the Night God, Setsuna, and the huge Reiatsu that burst out suddenly pushed back the terrifying pressure from all directions. The terrifying explosive force even blasted Charlotte Smoky, 4 or 5 meters tall. It also shook her. The finger on Ye Chen's shoulder was twisted and fractured. This is impossible. Smoky, who was shocked flying out, looked shocked. This is definitely not the power that this world should have. Otherwise, with the horrific effect of her juice squeezing fruit, anything she touches should be squeezed into juice. After all, the pressure she produced when she performed the trick of juicing was very terrifying. Even the Emperor of the Sea could not escape the horrible squeezing power. However, Ye Chen's instantaneous burst of strength pushed this terrifying pressure away. If all of this hadn't really happened, and Smuggy would have been killed, she wouldn't believe it. After directly shaking Smoky with his momentum, Ye Chen didn't sit idle either. He raised his head and looked down from the sky, like a huge mountain of meat, and like the queen of a meaty sports car. A cold smile appeared on Ye Chen's face, and then he blasted into the sky with a punch. Chapter 206. What? This power. So powerful. The punch hasn't come yet, but a strong sense of oppression has already come oncoming, making Quinn's face pale instantly. He felt that there was a high probability that he couldn't catch this punch. Bang! As predicted, after a huge explosion, Quinn's huge body, which fell like a meteor cannonball, rebounded to the sky. When he fell, he was so fast, but he bounced back to the sky faster. Ye Chen punched Quinn, who was as fat as a meat mountain, and flew into the air. Quinn's chest was sunken, his eyes rolled white, and it seemed that just a punch almost killed him. What? When people saw this scene, they were all shocked. After getting rid of Charlotte Snickers, one of the 3 dessert stars, did Ye Chen get rid of Quinn, one of the 3 plagues, with another punch? This is really terrible, especially Ye Chen's current state, surrounded by dark red aura, makes people feel that he is a god. Don't go up one by one, let's go together. After Ye Chen turned on the Night God state, his personality became even more mad. In the face of powerful people like Katakuri and Jin, he didn't pay much attention to it, and even opened his mouth to let everyone go together. Since Ye Chen himself made this request, Katakuri and others naturally have nothing to say. Originally, they thought it was a bit despicable to join forces to deal with Ye Chen with their identity, status and strength. But now it seems that this is not the case at all. On the contrary, it is obvious that so many of them surround Ye Chen, but it always gives people an illusion, as if Ye Chen surrounded all of them alone. Ancient Pterosaur form Mysterious Flame. Wu Shuang Rice Cake Blade Bomb. Marine 6 Styles Ultimate Profound Meaning the largest round of 6 Kings Spear. One hit must be cut. Almost all of the more than 24 powerhouses performed their most powerful moves and launched an attack on Ye Chen. This battle, even if the 4 emperors see it, I am afraid they will be embarrassed. Yes, the Ant and Kaido who watched the battle were also thinking about whether they could withstand the siege of more than 24 powerful men including Katakuri. They are not ordinary powerhouses. The weakest has the strength of the alternate admiral, and the strongest is already half the Emperor of the Sea. With so many powerful people working together, even if they were the dignified Sea Emperor, they might not be able to withstand it. However, Ye Chen at this time is different. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. His original strength was already above the Sea Emperor, and now he is incarnate in the form of Ye God. His strength is beyond imagination. It's just right. Ye Chen was also very excited when he saw this. Surroundings. Everything is ashes. Ryūjin Jakka. Fire refusal. Ye Chen slashed out and resolved most of the attacks in an instant. Immediately afterwards, he shot again. The speed is dizzying. Ye Chen at this time turned into a dark red figure, shuttled among the more than 20 strong men. Jingle bells. Boom, boom. One after another, the strong were knocked into the air and forced to retreat. Ye Chen relied on his own power to easily push Katakuri and others back. Fortunately, none of this was broadcast live like the last time the war was held. Otherwise, if people outside see this battle, they might not be deeply shocked by Ye Chen's strength. From then on, worship him as a god. Although, now, many people have worshipped him as a god. Hey, is this the main strength of your trilateral cooperation? That's it. I'm so disappointed. Ye Chen said with disdain after the last sword hit the Katakuri who was all over armament Haki's words. He does have disdainful capital. After all, after the incarnation of the night god, Katakuri and the flames of Jin are not worth mentioning to him. The only ones who can fight him are probably the Aunt Charlotte Linlin and Kaido, the 5 hidden old guys like 5 elders. Because when Ye Chen traveled, in the original work, these 5 old guys had not revealed their strength, so Ye Chen didn't know how powerful their strength was. But according to Ye Chen's speculation, the strength of these 5 old guys should definitely be on the same level as Sengoku. It is even possible to surpass Sengoku. Otherwise, how can someone who is so proud of Sengoku be obedient to them? Not because I knew I couldn't beat 5 of them. If you only have this strength, it would be too boring. Don't blame me for being cruel, just get rid of all of you. Ye Chen spoke arrogantly again. Yes, if Katakuri, Jin and others add up to this level of strength, with his current, God of Night, state, he would not be interested and continue to fight with them. Simply remove them all. Backquote what a big tone. Katakuri heard this, but refused to accept it. He decisively broke out all his combat power, his whole body was like glutinous rice cake, squirming, and his whole body was completely covered by a jet of black armament Haki. It looks like it's really moving. Really consider yourself the strongest person in the incident. Yan Calamity Jin also refused to accept it. He directly incarnates the ancient pterosaur form, and the mysterious flame on his body is soaring into the sky with a puff sound. This mysterious flame is very special. The temperature doesn't feel high, but everything is melted in the place burned by the flame. If someone dares to underestimate this mysterious flame, then he will definitely suffer a lot. Even the lava fruit capable person Akainu wouldn't dare to underestimate the flames on Jin's body before his death. It's so interesting. What other tricks? Just show them. Are you sure? Even if Katakuri and Jin Dong are real, Ye Chen still doesn't pay attention to them. This made Katakuri and Jin very annoyed, thinking they were underestimated. After the two looked at each other, they decisively joined forces for the first time and attacked Ye Chen once. Katakuri, Yenjin Jin, the second in command of the 2 great pirate groups, it's not bad that they don't fight when they meet each other, and joining forces is something they would never even think of. But now, because of a Ye Chen, they have to join forces. But even if they join forces, it will not help. Ye Chen in the state of night god, don't be too scary. He is like an adult hanging and beating a child, playing around with Katakuri and Jin. Even if the two of them tried their best, they couldn't even hurt a single hair of Ye Chen. This made them both feel a deep sense of despair and powerlessness in their hearts. Because of the gap between them and Ye Chen's strength, I feel desperate. Chapter 207. This is the Admiral Terminator. Is this Ye Chen the strongest in the world? Too strong. Even if they work hard for 10 or 20 years, I am afraid they will not be able to catch up. It doesn't matter if it is Katakuri and Jin, the others are also deeply desperate. They can't even get close Ye Chen. The aura erupting from Ye Chen is enough to knock them back. They are all strong. Their strength is not under the alternate admiral, but now, they can't even get close to each other. This kind of despair can be imagined. At this moment, they finally realized that perhaps joining forces to deal with Ye Chen this time was actually a wrong decision. And the Ant and Kaido, who were still on the boat, were shocked when they watched this scene. Watching Ye Chen playing Katakuri and Jin, they knew that if they didn't do it themselves, even if they had all their combat power, it would be impossible to win Ye Chen. On the contrary, even though 5 elders were shocked, they were okay, not as shocked as the Ant and Kaido. After all, they know that Fujitora and Green Bull have not made any moves yet. Yes, Fujitora and Green Bull really haven't shot Ye Chen yet. Their thinking is different from others. Everyone else is thinking about taking the head of Ye Chen ahead of others. But they know that with this group of rabbits, at least in their eyes, except for Katakuri and Jin, everyone else is rabbits. It is absolutely impossible to win Ye Chen's head. The two of them pay more attention to their performance, and they want to show their strength through this battle. Yes, they plan to become Marine, but they are not rushing to become Major General and Lieutenant General Marine. They should be Marine Admiral. Therefore, they did not follow the crowd to launch an attack on Ye Chen at the beginning, but instead launched an attack on Ulquiorra and Galio, who were still in advantage. Get me down. Gravity knife Big Tiger. Fujitora smiled and confronted Ulquiorra. Although his eyes were blind, he was proficient in armament Haki, so he could see Ulquiorra waving its wings and flying high in the air. Therefore, Fujitora didn't have any hesitation, and directly displayed his fruitful ability, intending to use gravity to force Ulquiorra down. Ulquiorra was condescending against the pacifists and countless pirates. Suddenly, he felt a great pressure on him. It was like a black hole, just pulling him to the ground. This pressure is terrifying. It's a lot of pressure, but if you want to force me down, you are not qualified. Ulquiorra spoke arrogantly, and then shook the devil's wings behind him violently. Instead of being pulled down by gravity, it rose a little. Are you the blind guy doing the trick? Take it to death. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Taking advantage of the high visibility, Ulquiorra also found the person who attacked him, Fujitora, who smiled, and then he slashed at Fujitora with the moonlight sword in his hand. It's not over yet. Fujitora smiled and didn't expect that his gravity could not push Ulquiorra down, but he has always been cautious in doing things. In fact, this knife still has a backhand. Gravity knife meteorite. As Fujitora's thick voice sounded with a smile, the ground and countless crushed rocks around him rose into the sky because of Ye Chen's previous performance of the evening elephant. When the gravel rose to a certain height, much higher than Ulquiorra's height, Fujitora smiled and slammed the long knife in his hand. Suddenly, the gravel fell from the air at a very fast speed under the action of gravity. The speed was so fast that even rubble rubbed against the air, igniting a raging fire. This is like a meteorite. Somewhat capable, even Ulquiorra had to speak, admitting that Fujitora's smile was indeed a bit powerful. Black Sero. Knowing that the opponent is not easy to deal with, Ulquiorra naturally did not take it lightly and directly displayed a large Black Sero. After the Black Sero was thrown out, the volume continued to expand on the way, and soon formed a huge energy ball covering the sky and the sun. At the same time, Black Sero and the falling meteorite collided violently. Boom, boom. The explosion sounded one after another. Mushroom clouds rose to the sky. The only good news may be that such a violent explosion happened in the air. If it happened on the ground, it would cause countless casualties. While Ulquiorra and Fujitora played against each other, Galio naturally clashed with Green Bull on the other side. Look at Lousy crushing you. Justice comes. Galio roared and turned into a mountain of meat, falling from the sky, trying to sit to death the Green Bull who provoked him. However, Green Bull is not one of those weak pirates, his strength is strong. Oh, if you want to squash me, you still have to work hard. Green Bull grinned, and when Galio dashed down from the sky, and when he was about to squash him, he suddenly slammed a punch. The whole arm of the Green Bull had green veins exposed, which was very scary. Moreover, the most incredible thing is that his arm is not covered with a layer of dark armament Haki, but emits light green fluorescence. You don't even use armament Haki. You dare to fight such a huge monster directly with your fists, maybe you don't want to live anymore. Those pirates who were not familiar with Fujitora and Green Bull, upon seeing this, thought this guy was seeking his own way. However, what happened in the next second refreshed their three views. Bang! The fist hit Galio's huge body like a monster. Compared to a city the size of Galio, there is no Green Bull the size of a soybean. Instead of being sat down to death by Galio, he has withstood the huge gravity of Galio's fall. The two are so deadlocked. He actually caught it. That's incredible. What's the name of this guy? Oh, yes, it seems to be called Green Bull. Green Bull. Never heard of it. When did Marine come out with such a powerful guy? The strength of this guy is no longer under the old Marine 3 Admiral. At this time, people realized that Green Bull, a guy they hadn't even heard of before, was far stronger than they thought. Crackle. The ground where the Green Bull was located was constantly cracking because it could not withstand the tremendous pressure. But Lu Niu's cold face showed a cruel smile. Get me started. Chapter 208. With the roar of Green Bull, the green light lingering on his arm became more and more dazzling. With a sudden burst of force, a powerful force surged out, and he actually threw out Galio, who was as huge as a city and covered the sky. This is impossible. After Galio was knocked into the air, he was also shocked. Fortunately, he has rough skin and magic protection, so even if the power of this punch is so powerful, it did not cause any harm to Galio. After pushing back Galio with a punch, the Green Bull didn't stop, but turned into a green light, winning chasing. In this way, Ulquiorra and Galio were entangled by Fujitora and Green Bull at the same time. The countless pirates and pacifists that they originally wanted to resist can't be taken care of temporarily. In other words, their two lines of defense are also in precarious conditions. The situation is getting more and more critical. On a ship above the sea, 5 elders looked at what happened in front of them, although Fujitora smiled and Green Bull did not harm Ulquiorra and Galio. However, the two dragged Ulquiorra and Galio, and gave the others a chance to attack, which can be regarded as reversing the stalemate. Of course, the performance of the two of them, 5 elders sees Yanlai. They still recognize the strength of the two of them. It seems that they did not brag. With their strength, they are indeed more qualified to serve as the Marine Admiral than the two Marine alternates, T-Dolphin and Taudu. 5 elders muttered. Originally, their 5 elders had always planned that after Akainu was killed in battle and Aokiji became Marine Marshal, the two vacant Marine Admiral positions would be filled by Admirals alternate T-Dolphin and Peach Rabbit. They have always been very optimistic about both of them. But now, the appearance of Fujitora and Green Bull changed their minds. Although the alternate admiral is designated by them, it is used to replace Marine Admiral. According to the qualifications, the more famous and influential T-Dolphin and Peach Rabbit who have been in Marine for many years should indeed become Marine Admiral. However, they now need more powerful people. Only those who are strong enough to become Marine Admiral will have more capital to fight against pirates like Ye Chen who have been born. In other words, in order to have more capital to fight against pirates like Ye Chen, they will promote powerful people like Fujitora and Green Bull to become Marine Admiral. The other side, Ye Chen, who was playing around with Katakuri, Jin and others, was also attracted by the sound of violent fighting not far away. After landing on the terrorist 3-masted sailing ship, Fujitora and Green Bull acted alone and did not follow the large forces. So Ye Chen really did not notice them at the beginning. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At this moment, after noticing the two of them, he also showed a hint of surprise. Fujitora smiled and Green Bull. Unexpectedly, the two of them also appeared here. Ye Chen was immediately attracted by the two of them. You know, in Ye Chen's impression, these two guys, since they can rely on their strength in a world conscription, they were exceptionally promoted to Marine Admiral by the world government and Marine headquarters. This is enough to show that the two definitely have the strength of Admiral. Their strength is said to be higher than that of Katakuri and Yan Calamity Jin. There is nothing wrong with that. Otherwise, the world government and Marine headquarters are not fools. They put the Admiral candidates who have worked so hard for many years and hired two unknown guys to become Marine Admiral. Are their heads showy? Of course not. Aceeds, you come to deal with them. I will meet two more interesting guys for a while. Ye Chen said to Aceeds beside him. Okay, just leave it to me. Aceeds naturally did not refuse. Isn't it Katakuri, Yan Plague Jin and other strong people, Ye Chen can sling them, and she can naturally too. However, compared to Ye Chen who likes to use 8 inner gates to strengthen herself, she prefers to use Emperor Gu to strengthen herself. Ice Emperor Tool. The demon god appears, the essence of the devil. With Ace Desi's scream, the imperial tool on her body, sensing her determination, suddenly burst out with incredible power. As we all know, the more powerful the users of such things as Tegu, the more powerful they are. The former Aceeds can still use the power of the Ice Emperor to be so terrifying, not to mention the Aceeds who now has the same strength as Ye Chen. 0 Find Flowers 0. Ice Land Admiral Army. With a roar, countless ice cavalry were born with the blizzard. They are like death knights from freezing hell. Each knight is so powerful that it can even destroy pacifists easily. Even with Charlotte Smoky, Quinn and others, they have the power to fight. Of course, Katakuri and Yan Plague Jin need Aceeds to deal with them personally. In this way, Aceeds took over the unfinished business of Ye Chen, restrained Katakuri, Yenjin Jin and others, so that they had no time to distract and interfere with Ye Chen. Ye Chen, who got out of it, can go towards Fujitora and Green Bull without any worries. Ulquiorra, Galio, these two guys are left to me. You continue to resist the attacking pirates and pacifists. Ye Chen said to Ulquiorra and Galio. Yes, okay. Having said that, in fact, Ulquiorra and Galio felt that it was not good at all. They had been playing miscellaneous fish for a long time, and finally met two guys who were evenly matched with them, and they were preparing to have a hearty fight with them. In the end, it was snatched by Ye Chen. However, there is no way. Since Master Captain is interested in Fujitora and Green Bull and wants to learn about their strengths personally, these two of them are subordinates, and they can only help him contain other trash fish, lest they interfere with Ye Chen. After this, Ulquiorra and Galio got rid of the entanglement of Fujitora and Green Bull successively, and continued to deal with the trash fish in their eyes. Fujitora and Green Bull were stopped by Ye Chen. Ye Chen. Ye Chen. Fujitora and Green Bull, who were stopped by Ye Chen, almost spoke in the same way. Feeling the terrifying Reiatsu on Ye Chen, the two of them dare not look down upon it. What a powerful force, has it actually turned into dark red steam, entangled in your body? Fujitora sighed secretly in her heart. The two of us have been in hiding for so many years. The reason why we chose to come out early is not because of such a guy who turned out to be like Ye Chen. Green Bull seemed to be able to sense Fujitora's inner thoughts, and said lightly, Force. Chapter 209. Yup, Fujitora admitted decisively. It is precisely because of the emergence of Ye Chen that the whole world has undergone tremendous changes. Even the Whitebeard pirate group, once known as the most powerful pirate group, has now become a member of the Black Crow pirate group and its affiliated pirate group. In this way, how can the two of them continue to hide in the world? Naturally, I can't suppress my inner curiosity. I want to meet the legend of Ye Chen for a while. However, their original idea was to become Marine Admiral first, and then challenge Ye Chen in the name of Marine Admiral. But it's okay now, let alone defeating Ye Chen. If they can defeat Ye Chen, then the matter of them becoming Marine Admiral will be determined. After all, at the time of the war, Akainu fought hard for the so-called justice in his heart, burned his cells, exhausted his life, and died in a glorious battle, and failed to win Ye Chen. Fujitora smiled. Green Bull roar no Amashi. Ye Chen responded to both of them. Do you know your name for the two of us? Fujitora and Green Bull were also taken aback when they heard this. They have been in hiding for so many years, few people know their names, and the only person on the scene who knows their names is 5 elders. They never expected that Ye Chen would know their names. How did you know our name? Green Bull said with a solemn expression. It's very simple, there is no impermeable wall in the world. Facing the question, Ye Chen responded indifferently. A network of spies and powerful intelligence agencies. That's how it is. After hearing this, Fujitora glanced in Doflamingo's direction. Although he can't see with his eyes, his heart can see more clearly than anyone else. He knows very well that Doflamingo is a restless guy who likes to engage in espionage and collect intelligence. According to rumors, he has installed all the spies in the Marine headquarters and the world government. If they knew their names in advance through spies and a powerful network of intelligence agencies, that would make sense. Humph. Green Bull snorted coldly, but obviously, he also agreed with Fujitora's statement. Ye Chen naturally didn't say anything. If they think so, let's think so. At the same time, thanks to Fujitora's words, Ye Chen realized the importance of spy and intelligence agency networks. Maybe he should vigorously develop a network of intelligence agencies, so that when he fights with the world government in the future, he can seize the opportunity. Moreover, after the establishment of the intelligence agency organization, there is another advantage, that is, some difficult to explain things, such as how he knew the names of Fujitora and Green Bull, can be prevaricated by the term intelligence agency. As far as I know, the two of you have lived in seclusion for many years, and your strength is not below the original Marine Admiral. Ye Chen spoke again. Of course, Green Bull said arrogantly. So, are you interested in competing with us? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Fujitora opened his mouth. Of course, Ye Chen responded. Come on, the old man has long been looking forward to a fight with you. Green Bull, please stand back and wait for the old man to meet him for a while. Fujitora is obviously very confident of his own strength. That won't work, why didn't you step back and let me meet him for a while? Of course Green Bull was not happy. He also wants to personally challenge some of the so-called powerhouses of the world. No, no, no. Ye Chen shook his head. You two, together. Ye Chen glanced at Fujitora, then at the Green Bull, and said. Boy, what a big tone. Boy, if you think you can beat Akainu, can you just not put the two of us in your eyes? The strength of the two of us is not worse than Akainu. Green Bull and Akainu said one after another. They noticed just now that Ye Chen was so arrogant that he even dared to placate Akuri and Jin and the others in such a situation. But they never expected that Ye Chen was so arrogant that he would challenge both of them at the same time. Why, you dare not? Ye Chen heard the words, and the meaning of provocation became more obvious. You asked for this, don't blame us for bullying the less with more and bullying the small with the big. Fujitora sighed. He originally wanted to play against Ye Chen one-on-one, to test how his strength reached the realm, but he never expected that he should be so arrogant. Since he has asked so himself, we don't have to be polite. Zero. Smile, let's go together. Green Bull is also straightforward. He was also worried that he would suffer one-on-one. After all, he didn't think he could hang Katakuli, Yenjin and others on his own, but Ye Chen did it. It's all right now. Since Ye Chen himself provoked first, don't blame the two of them for teaming up to deal with him together. Come on. Ye Chen is not shy at all. Then you have to be careful. Gravity Knife Tiger. Having said that, Fujitora also felt that there was no need to continue to be polite to Ye Chen, holding the knife in his hand high in front of his chest, and then slammed away at Ye Chen. Whoosh. The knife gas turned into a crescent shape and swept out. Along with it, sweeping towards Ye Chen, there is also a powerful force of gravity. Feeling the huge gravity, Ye Chen's excitement became even more excited. This is the real powerhouse. At the beginning, Ye Chen also felt that Katakuri and Yenjin should be at the same level as Fujitora and Green Bull. Now it seems that he was wrong. Fujitora and Green Bull are at least an ant and Kaido. They are not comparable to Katakuri and Yenjin Jin. It's just right. Fire refusal. Ye Chen reacted very quickly. When Fujitora smiled and slashed, Ryūjin Jakka in his hand was also slashed out. Pung. The bursting burning knife gas flew out. Soon, the two sword airs collided. The fiery red sword energy burning with raging fire, and the jet black sword energy under the blessing of gravity. One red and one black, two sword auras collided fiercely. Boom. The entire terrifying three-masted sailboat was covered by fire and darkness. While the fire blazed into the sky, the darkness was like a tide. This scene is like a desperate battle between Blackbeard and Ace on an island. Even more intense than that. However, this is just the beginning. At the same time when the two sword auras collided, Green Bull also launched an attack on Ye Chen. He turned into a green light, and at some point, he had already come behind Ye Chen. Be responsible for your arrogance. Green Bull yelled and kicked Ye Chen. Chapter 210. There is no fancy movement at all with this foot. Yes, it's just a touch of greenery. But that pure power shattered everything in the range covered by the greenery. Rocks, forests, buildings, under this foot, no longer exist, all turned into powder. However, when everything was destroyed, another touch of green took root on the earth. This is the power of vitality. It can be destroyed or reborn. Just like the seed that fell into the cracks in the rock, the burst of power is enough to push the boulder away. The Green Bull hasn't kicked it yet, but Ye Chen has already felt the power of this vitality. What fruit ability is this? Is it the fruit ability of plants? Based on the memory of the previous life, Ye Chen naturally easily guessed that the ability of Green Bull should be the ability of some kind of plant fruit. As for what kind of plant it is not known. Moreover, it is obvious that this vital force can not only burst out a terrifying force of destruction, destroy all things in an instant, but also burst out a powerful vitality, and restore all things in an instant. In a single thought, everything is born. With one thought of 09, do all things come into being. Interesting. Ye Chen thought as if he was muttering to himself, and only then did he raise an arm to resist the Green Bull's foot. Snapped. There was a muffled sound. Ye Chen stood on the ground, not moving at all, except that the ground under his feet had been shattered every inch. This is enough to see how powerful this foot is. The Green Bull was deadlocked in the air. He was so shocked in his heart that he couldn't think that his ruinous foot was so imperious that Ye Chen could not move at all. On the contrary, it was his right foot, as if it had kicked the red iron body, it was burning and numb. It can be said that instead of taking the slightest advantage, this Green Bull has suffered a big loss in secret. However, who is Green Bull? His arrogance does not allow him to admit that he has suffered, so he still speaks calmly. Unexpectedly, you can see my fruitful ability at a glance. As expected of Ye Chen, I have a bit of insight. When everyone heard Green Bull say this, no one naturally thought that he had suffered a loss just now. You are not bad. Ye Chen also praised him. After the two exchanged business talks, Green Bull separated first, and then motioned to Fujitora in front of him with his eyes. Fujitora knows, the two together, one after the other, attacked Ye Chen at the same time. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Because of the fight just now, the two of them have realized that even in a wheel fight, with their strength, they can't win Ye Chen. Ye Chen's strength is beyond their imagination. The only possible way to win Ye Chen is for the two to join hands to deal with him regardless of previous quarrels. Next, everyone present was fortunate enough to see this fierce battle that shocked the world. The speed of the three people was extremely fast, and after the collision, they separated quickly. The fighting was fierce and dizzying. In people's eyes, the three of them have almost turned into three rays of light. One green, one purple, one dark. The three rays of light kept colliding and separating. With every collision, the earth will shatter and everything around will be destroyed. In every collision, many innocent people will die tragically in the influence of this fierce battle. This battle is no longer something ordinary people can participate in. Even strong people such as Katakuri, Yan Plague Jin, etc., are frightened to see it. They never expected that the two guys who got off the boat with them were so powerful, even far stronger than them. Fortunately, at the beginning, they had never heard of their two names, and thought it was five elders playing tricks, so they randomly sent two guys as cannon fodder. It now appears that they have misunderstood five elders. As for the others, they were even more shocked when they saw this scene. No, are these two guys so fierce? More than fierce, two people are actually enough to fight Ye Chen from the Black Crow Pirates group back and forth. They are probably stronger than Katakuri and Jin. What are their names? Such a strong person should be unknown. It shouldn't be. I don't know the name, but the nickname seems to be Fujitora and Green Bull. Fujitora, Green Bull. It seems that they are two more powerful beings comparable to Akainu. Fujitora and Green Bull, these two titles, I remember them. People were shocked by the performance of Fujitora and Green Bull, and there were endless discussions. The five elders, Auntie, Kaido and others on the boat were also shocked. No one thought that Fujitora and Green Bull had such a strong strength. Auntie and Kaido were even more secretly surprised. These two guys are as strong as them. If they apply to join the world government or marine, then for them, these two men are properly two threats. Suddenly, both Auntie and Kaido felt a sense of crisis. The horror three-masted sailboat, in the heartland. The fierce battle continues. The three of them beat the sky dimly, the sun and the moon were dull. Wherever he went, everything was razed to the ground. The earth is shattering and the waves are roaring. Of course, this is only seen by others. But in fact, Ye Chen is one enemy too, never letting go, even calmly, with ease. On the contrary, Fujitora and Green Bull, who were on a fierce offensive, murmured secretly in their hearts. They had heard of Ye Chen's name for a long time, and they knew how strong he was, but they never expected Ye Chen to be so strong. Their triumphant fruit abilities, and the many powerful tricks that have been painstakingly produced in a blink of an eye, are often easily cracked by Ye Chen after they are displayed. Of course, what pained them most was the knife named Ryūjin Jakka in Ye Chen's hand. This knife is not one of the 12 great knives, nor is it a famous black knife, but it is no worse than any 12 great knives and black knives. Especially the ability of this knife made them even more frightened. They have to deal with every move with great care, such as fire rejection and heating hell. Otherwise, with a little carelessness, even if it is as powerful as them, it may be incinerated to ashes in an instant at any time by the extremely terrifying heat. Moreover, Fujitora and Green Bull have an illusion, as if there is a scorching breath locked in them. As long as they are slightly distracted, they will be ignited immediately. Fortunately, their observation Haki is not a display, it can still predict the danger. They just need to double their hearts and minds, and this dangerous scorching breath that locks them in, can't help them anymore. Chapter 211. But because they had to fully guard against this dangerous scorching aura, they were exhausted physically and mentally in this battle. However, no matter how fierce they attack Ye Chen, they still can't help him. This made Fujitora and Green Bull clearly realize that Ye Chen is far more powerful than them, but a lot more powerful. They understood that at the beginning, the head of the dignified Marine Admiral, Akainu, died in the hands of Ye Chen. Just because Ye Chen is so powerful. And they are now following in Akainu's footsteps. Old guy, it won't work anymore. As we continue, both of us will be defeated by him and then killed. Green Bull realized the deep danger and couldn't help but said to Fujitora. In the fierce fighting just now, he was kicked in the chest. This kick easily broke his vital defense and caused him to be seriously injured. Although for the sake of demeanor, He insisted that no blood spurted out, but at least 7 or 8 of his ribs were broken. Now in the body, the blood is rolling endlessly. Of course the old man knows, I don't need to remind you. Fujitora replied to the Green Bull in an annoyed manner. Green Bull suffered a big loss in the fierce battle just now, and he was the same. I saw Fujitora at this time, the right hand holding the knife was shaking slightly, and the proud staff knife in his hand. People would be horrified to find that there were countless small cracks on the blade. Obviously, Fujitora and Ye Chen fought a knife just now, but apparently they have never fought. Let alone Ye Chen's strength, it far surpasses Fujitora. Even the knives in the hands of both sides are not of the same level. Ryūjin Jakka is invincible. The stick knife in Green Bull's hand was not directly smashed, thanks to his blessing of the stick knife with Conqueror's Haki. Use that trick, Green Bull suggested. There is no way. I didn't plan to use the joint skills so early. I also wanted to be the last trump card between the two of us. But no way. He is too strong. Backquote. Fujitora sighed. Of course, the meaning of what he said is obvious, that is, he agreed with Green Bull's words. Ye Chen, take the two of us and join forces. Fujitora suddenly yelled to Ye Chen. Oh, do you two have joint skills? Ye Chen was surprised at this. This is not to blame him. After all, in the original book, Fujitora and Green Bull are both companions and rivals. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The relationship between the two of them is like the relationship between Akainu and Aokiji. Although there is friendship, they sometimes cherish each other. But more often, it is because each other can't understand each other's style, and it is inevitable to make complaints when meeting each other. But now Ye Chen found that the friendship between Fujitora and Green Bull was obviously far beyond his imagination, and even they were old friends a long time ago. Otherwise, how can they have time to cultivate what joint skills? Nonsense. Take it, Ye Chen. Green Bull is not as good-tempered as Fujitora. After a few yells, the fruit's ability bursts to the fullest, a touch of greenery shoots out of him, soaring into the sky, and soaring into the sky. At the same time, seeing that the Green Bull had already moved, Fujitora was naturally not idle. Drink. Fujitora yelled. In the same way, the fruitful ability exploded to the fullest. Suddenly, within 100 miles, the gravitational field has undergone tremendous changes. With Fujitora as the center, the maximum gravity can reach thousands of times. As for the periphery, gravity has also increased by at least 10 to 20 times. Suddenly, many pirates, even pacifists, who were in the gravity field were caught. They knelt on the ground directly under the pressure of strong gravity, and even stuck their 5 bodies on the broken ground, unable to move. Some miscellaneous fish with insufficient strength were crushed by gravity on the spot, their bones broke and their chests exploded. Ulquiorra and Galio are also in the gravitational field, but the gravitational field has little effect on them, at most it only hinders their smooth flight in the air. However, even Doflamingo, Luo and others who were outside the gravity field felt a tremendous amount of pressure. As this fruitful, Doflamingo murmured. In fact, he had already received reports from his spy agency about the fruitful results. Of course, he also knew that there was such a hidden person as Fujitora. However, because this matter has yet to be investigated to determine that the information is 100% correct, he did not report it to Ye Chen. Unexpectedly, Fujitora, a hidden person, would come out so soon. Compared with the skyrocketing greenery exploded by the Green Bull, people are more shocked by the gravity exploded by Fujitora. No way, after all, the greenery has no effect on them, but the gravity field created by Fujitora makes many people miserable. However, Ye Chen, who is at the center of the gravity field and bears the greatest gravity, is focused on the greenery that rushes into the sky. Seemingly harmless to humans and animals, it only contains infinite vitality, without any murderous greenery, but it makes Ye Chen feel a little dangerous. Everything's ready. Fujitora and Green Bull yelled at the same time. Backquote Ye Chen, take it. Gravity sky falling vines. Fujitora and Green Bull are almost the same. As soon as the voice fell, the entire terrifying 3-masted sailing ship was trembling violently. Even when Ye Chen showed the evening elephant before, when the huge elephant feet descended from the sky, the terrifying 3-masted sailboat trembled so violently. Do Fujitora and Green Bull have a combined blow, with power comparable to that of Shixiong? Interesting. Ye Chen finds it more and more interesting. With the shouts of Fujitora and the Green Bull, the greenery rushing into the sky suddenly took root and turned into countless huge vines, and then fell from the sky. All this only happened in a flash. In the next moment, the vines rushed down like tentacles outside the sky, attacking the world. Moreover, this is not the most shocking is that every vine is pitch black. They were all blessed by armament Haki. With such a huge vine and so many in number, they even bless armament Haki. I am afraid that I can't do it as the Emperor of the Sea. Fujitora and Green Bull did it together. Wow, this scene shocked everyone present. People only feel a tingling scalp. Is this the joint skill of Fujitora and Green Bull? The combination of numerous fruits and the fruits of a certain plant can burst out such a powerful force. Moreover, the incomparably huge vines that fell from the sky gave people no more shock than Shixiong's elephant feet trampled down from the sky. This is simply a fight between gods. Chapter 212. Ha ha ha, Fujitora, Green Bull, I did not misunderstand you. Ye Chen was so excited that he even laughed. This kind of crazy laughter shocked everyone on the scene. Do you still have time to laugh if you don't think about how to deal with it at this time? How crazy is he? Of course, Ye Chen is so excited for a reason. Because he finally had the opportunity to perform the moves he had always wanted to perform. Even in the battle against Akainu, there was no such move. However, you have teamwork skills, and I also have a trick. I don't know whether the vines you created together can withstand it. Ye Chen said, inserting Ryūjin Jakka back into the scabbard. Then, put on a weird posture of drawing a knife. For a while, the boundless Reiatsu surged out of Ye Chen's body. What is this? Fujitora and Green Bull yelled in unison. They can feel that Ye Chen's next move is absolutely enough to shock the world. This knife is called Ranha Taito Dong Sunblade. Following Ye Chen's stern shout, he pulled out the Ryūjin Jakka from his waist, and slashed it towards the vines that fell from the sky. At this time, countless huge vines have rushed to the ground, and that posture is simply scary. Seeing, Ye Chen was about to be crushed and smashed by the vines that soared to the sky, and a flame of fire burst into the sky. No, it's not firelight, it's sword energy. Boundless sword spirit. Boom. The sword chi fiercely bombarded the vines falling from the sky, and an unforgettable scene of this life appeared. The sword energy that condensed the flame heat of Ryūjin Jakka bombarded the vine, and suddenly, a huge vine covered with a layer of black armament Haki. Suddenly it was cut apart, and the terrifying heat penetrated into it. The terrifying high temperature erupted, and the vines were burned to ashes, flying in the sky. Ye Chen, after cutting out with a knife, inserted Ryūjin Jakka back into the scabbard. He stands in the sky of fire, vines, and ashes, like a god. Those very huge vines, obviously only 1 foot, or even half a foot away, could touch Ye Chen, but they couldn't. Before touching Ye Chen, they all turned into ashes. Everyone was shocked, including Ulquiorra, Galio, 5 elders, Ant and Kaido. Even Acedes. Although Acedes shares strength with Ye Chen, she does not have the knife Ryūjin Jakka, so she naturally does not understand the power of Kanha Taidao. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yes, that's right, this is how powerful Kanhuo is. Invincible and powerful. It is worth mentioning that Ye Chen still performed Kanha Taisho without Bankai in Ryūjin Jakka. Compared with the Bankai version of Kanha Taidao, the strength can be said to be greatly reduced. It is estimated that it can be 1%. No way, who made Ryūjin Jakka Bankai too powerful? Ye Chen didn't dare to risk Bankai. Therefore, he could only take a different approach and created a weakened version of the Kanon Taito that can be displayed in the Zanpakuto Shikai situation. But even if it is a weakened version, Ye Chen is very satisfied with the effect. The combination of Fujitora and Green Bull was easily dismantled with a single blow. This is impossible. Puff. Angrily attacking his heart, and having been seriously injured before, he had already displayed the tremendous counterattack power brought about by the cracking of the joint technique. The Green Bull finally couldn't hold it back, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Fujitora's situation is not so good. The blood stayed along the corners of his mouth and eyes. His gravitational field, also under this knife, was completely destroyed. The two of them, until the vines all turned into ashes and disappeared, did not believe that Ye Chen's combined blow was so easily dismantled by Ye Chen. They are the powerhouses who think they are not below Akainu and Aokiji. The battle against Ye Chen gave their confidence and brought a blow. Don't be too big. Let them all doubt their own strength. Is it really as strong as they think it is? Are they really qualified to serve as Marine Admiral? Looking at Fujitora and Green Bull, they looked shocked, their confidence was obviously hit, and they fell into thinking about life. Ye Chen smiled very proudly and said, "Well, your combined blow is not as strong as my can fire 2 sword. Furthermore, there is more than one type Offren Huo Tai sword." When Fujitora and Green Bull heard this, their hearts once again tightened. But if you think about it, too, all fools know that since there is remnant fire Taidao East, there will naturally be South, West, and North. In that case, there are at least 4 styles of Kanha Taito. Thinking of this, the confidence of Fujitora and Green Bull was hit harder. Can both of them be unable to resist even one of them? They feel deep despair for the huge gap between themselves and Ye Chen. Yes, despair. With their willingness to remain silent, they can know how deep the minds of Fujitora and Green Bull are. It is estimated that no matter how big a blow is, their confidence will not be shaken. What they never expected was that their Xingxing cultivation base for so many years was completely shattered because of the battle with Ye Chen. Now, they are looking at Ye Chen, and they feel that the young man in front of them is a monster. Therefore, you are fortunate enough to die under the other 3 types of Canfire Taito. You should be deeply honored. Ye Chen's voice sounded faintly again. The tone was so plain, but everyone present couldn't help taking a breath after hearing the words. What does this mean? The meaning of this is very clear. Fujitora and Green Bull are afraid that they will fall in this battle. Will you fall as soon as you are born? Huh. Fujitora gave a wry smile. He couldn't think of it. He and Green Bull had been in hiding for so many years. As soon as they were born, they would face the crisis of fall. This is simply a great irony. Ye Chen, don't be arrogant, you really think you can kill me and Fujitora, both? Of course Green Bull is not reconciled. However, in unwillingness, he felt a sense of powerlessness. Yes, the strength gap is too huge, making him feel deeply desperate. However, just when Fujitora and Green Bull were deeply desperate, an old but powerful voice suddenly sounded. Yes, you can't succeed with us. As soon as the voice fell, 5 figures fell from the sky. It turned out to be 5 elders. Seeing Fujitora and Green Bull in danger, they couldn't sit still. At the beginning, they watched the fall of Akainu and the forces of Marine and world government suffered a huge blow. They will never make such a mistake again. Chapter 213. In any case, they will keep Fujitora and Green Bull. The two of them are the best candidates for the new Marine Admiral. Therefore, they got up one after another, sprinted, and came to the scene from the warship. The speed is unimaginable. Fast speed. Ye Chen couldn't help but exclaimed in secret. The Horror 3-masted sailboat is so big, the distance from the sea to the center is not short, even if it is Katakuri and the Blaze Jin, it will take some time. But 5 elders rushed to the scene almost instantly. This shows one thing even more, that is, the strength of 5 elders is really hidden. Of course, having said that, with Ye Chen's speed, it can be done easily and easily. So, even if 5 elders suddenly appeared behind him, Ye Chen was so calm as the old one. It turned out to be 5 elders. I said, are you 5 old guys finally willing to show up? I still remember that when you were at the top of the war, you 5 old guys didn't even dare to show up when they saw me. On the one hand, I was so frightened and ran away, so I thought you were not brave enough. Why, this time you are brave. Or is it because you have joined forces this time, so you have no fear? If it is the latter, then you are probably old and confused. Ye Chen's words were full of ridicule. 5 elders heard the words, and their complexions turned out to be very ugly. Especially the blonde 5 elders, his face flushed. If it hadn't been for 5 elders with Whitebeard and hair to stop him, he would probably rush towards Ye Chen desperately. Huh, Ye Chen, do you really think that we, 5 elders, are afraid of you? Ridiculous. The reason why we didn't rush to fight you at the top of the war is that we didn't think we were fully prepared. Broadsword 5 elders snorted coldly. Oh, so now, be prepared. Indeed, it should be well prepared, and it's also very sufficient. It's a big deal to unite Beast's pirates and the Ant pirates. Hey, I really don't know if the two guys, Andy and Kaido, are stupid or purely mindless, and even conspired with the tiger. Don't they know that even if you join forces with the 3 parties, you can really wipe out me? Then, wipe out after taking me, who will be their next goal? Of course the answer is them. What's more, I, Ye Chen, dare to assert right now that even if the 3 of you join forces, you will definitely not be able to beat me. These words are what I said, and I will put them here. Ye Chen said so heartily. People on the battlefield were all dumbfounded after hearing Ye Chen's words. Good guy. This is something that offends 5 elders, the ant, and the beasts. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Moreover, it's offended to death. Really, are we stupid or brainless? I don't know this, I only know, Ye Chen, you are going to die here today. At this moment, the ant's voice sounded like a thunder, which also sounded behind 5 elders. When she got angry, thunderclouds rolled across the sky, and thunder and lightning continued. Obviously, this is Thundercloud Zeus at work. Of course, there are Kaidos who are irritated by Ye Chen's remarks. Ye Chen, Lousy allows you to be arrogant for a while, wait a minute, Lousy will let you know how to write the word, dead. Kaido's eyes flushed red, and he lowered his voice. Anyone who is a member of Beast's Pirates knows that the calmer Kaido looks now, the more angry it is actually. Anti and Kaido should have followed immediately after 5 elders were dispatched. However, even at their speed, it was still a long time slow before rushing to the scene. That's a lot of nonsense. I don't have time to listen to your nonsense, are you all here? When you are all here, let's go together. Ye Chen looked very impatient, said. His expression seemed to say, sorry, Lousy was impatient, to listen to the threats of the 2 of you guys. Kaido and the ant were so angry they almost didn't recite them. Well, feelings only allow you to make a long speech on your own, but you are not allowed to express an angry opinion. How do you look down on us? Ye Chen, since you are so anxious to find death, don't blame so many of us for bullying you. Big guys, follow the previous agreement and go together. The ant yelled with a sharp voice. 0 find flowers 0. Then, she was also polite, summoning Thundercloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus, and launched an attack on Ye Chen. Go to hell, Ye Chen. Thunderstorm strikes. Rumble. Thunder and lightning, mixed with flames, fell from the sky and slashed towards Ye Chen. Under what circumstances, isn't the sky already bright? Why is it suddenly dark again? Wow, it's thunder and lightning again, it's flame again, what's the matter, is the end of the world? The pirates and army in the periphery were frightened by the sudden change of weather. This is our mother's anger. You now know how terrifying our mother's anger is, right? A member of the ant pirate group said triumphantly. Dot 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 dot. As expected, one of the 4 emperors, it really wasn't built. What? It's so terrible when the ant gets angry. So what about Kaido, the beast's angry? Also, our 5 noble 5 elders adults, it is said that the strength of each of them is also unimaginable. Also, Fujitora and Green Bull are also surprisingly strong. In that case, Ye Chen will have to fight against Auntie, Kaido, 5 elders, Fujitora and Green Bull alone. Hey, I think she will definitely be more fortunate this time. Of course. That's what he deserves. You probably didn't hear what he said to 5 elders, Ant and Kaido just now, how arrogant. I ate the fruits related to hearing, but I heard clearly. His words, but offended everyone to death. The Black Crow pirates, I'm afraid it's not going to fall here today, terrifying 3-masted sailing ship. How is it possible not to fall? Think about it, the world government, the Ant pirates, and our 3 major forces, Beasts pirates, and New World, have joined forces. It is impossible for any pirates in the world to be encircled and suppressed by the 3 parties. It can survive. Even the Rocks pirate back then is impossible. That's true. Hey, you guys, I'm talking about you guys, and there is still time to chat. Hurry up, let's deal with the floating Loli and her zombie army. Without the help of those ghosts, her line of defense can't stand it for long. Yes, obey orders. Lee, Chapter 214. Many pirates and army forces are so terrifying because of the Ants' anger. They feel that Ye Chen, the 5th Sea Emperor who was born, is afraid that it is not going to fall here. However, what they didn't know was that the 5 elders had a headache because the Ant arbitrarily launched Thundercloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus to attack Ye Chen. The Ant has already launched an attack recklessly, what else can they do? Naturally they can only bite the bullet and go together. As for the previously agreed, fighting with wheels and exhausting Ye Chen's physical strength in turns, everyone's battle plans such as rushing to the top were all invalidated. No way, it's not good for them to find someone to join forces. They have to look for a pirate who is notorious as an ant, who never speaks any principles, and never obeys any rules. Now that she has chosen to join forces with her, she must be prepared for her mischief, which will lead to a miscarriage of the previously formulated battle plan 247. But they can't help it. If they don't find Ant and Kaido, who else can they find? Redhead Shanks, or Rayleigh, who has lived in seclusion for many years. Although the red-haired Shanks and the world government have a cooperation, Rayleigh also has a handle in their hands, but they know very well that it is absolutely impossible for them to take action against Ye Chen. As for Marine, after the last top war, his vitality was greatly injured. A Kainu member was lost. Admiral didn't say anything, but the former Marshal Sengoku resigned as a result and quit. In order to allow Marine headquarters to recuperate and rejuvenate, it is impossible for them to let Marine participate in this matter again. Therefore, as a last resort, the only candidates they can choose for cooperation are the Ant and Kaido. Let's go together. Broadsword 5 elders opened the mouth. Just to my liking. Lousy has been waiting for this moment for a long time. The blonde 5 elders and Kaido said one after another. Ye Chen, die. Thunder 8 trigrams. With an order from 5 elders, almost everyone attacked Ye Chen. Including Fujitora and Green Bull. Although they are not despicable people, since Ye Chen didn't plan to let them go before, they naturally couldn't let Ye Chen go. As for who has more people and less people, it is not within their consideration. They also want to take this opportunity to show it to 5 elders. Ha ha ha, come together. Very good. Ye Chen laughed when he saw this. Great spirit to look at the world. When people saw it, Ye Chen's courage was deeply admired. If you change to them and face the siege of the Ant, Kaido, 5 elders, Fujitora, Green Bull and many other powerful people, I am afraid that you will be scared to be afraid long ago. Let's try it with you. There are a few types of power left by Kanha Taito. Ye Chen said, putting his right hand on the handle of the knife, once again in a weird posture of drawing the knife. Boom. Reiatsu skyrocketed. Because of the thunderclouds condensed in the air brought by the Ant's anger, when the rainbow-like Reiatsu was rushed, the clouds dispersed into the sky. At the same time, a raging flame rose into the sky. Ye Chen was bathed in the raging flames, and the flames turned into his clothes. Drifting in the wind. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Such and such Haki. Wow, isn't it? Galio yelled and couldn't help but stop the killing. Those poor pirate elites and pacifists have just escaped. The same goes for Ulquiorra and Acedes. Even Katakuli, Yenjinjin and others have temporarily stopped their hands. As for the other pirates and miscellaneous fish, they were even more stunned by the scene before them. Everyone stopped all the movements in unison, and looked up at the shocking scene of the world. Vortex, vortex. The flames are bursting, like 10,000 horses hunting. The wind is whistling, the heat is rolling. The earth is like a melting pot. The flames burn the sky and boil the sea. Everything is a long story, but in fact, it happened in a short time. At the same time, the Thunderfire crit, summoned by the Ant just fell from the sky. The flames mingled with the thunder and lightning, and they chopped on Ye Chen's flame clothes. Boom. There was a blast. Deafening. However, the big explosion of people's phenomenon did not happen. The thunder fire fell on the flame clothes covering Ye Chen's body, and in an instant, it turned into ashes and disappeared. Yes, it turned into ashes. Whether it's lightning or flames, everything will disappear into ashes. The situation is wrong. Don't touch the flames covering him. Stop it. Damn, it's too late. What kind of trick is this? Who could have imagined that the five elders, the Ant of the Sea Emperor, Kaido, and others, who are in charge of the dignified world government, would make such a horrified cry? Ah, Ye Chen sneered. Zero. At the same time, he pulled out Ryūjin Jakka and swept away at everyone. Kanha Taito Shi, Remnant Sun Prison Shirt. Vortex Vortex. The flame condensed into a materialized sword chi, and the blade chi became a crescent shape, cutting away at everyone. At this moment, people can't tell whether this is a flame or a sword energy. A huge flame disk, condensed behind Ye Chen, like a round of the sun. What? Kaido was the first to scream. He claims to be the strongest creature in the world, however, even with his strong defensive power, he can't resist this sword energy. Bang! The sword chi hit him fiercely, leaving a huge wound on his chest covered with iron-hard muscles. The wound did not bleed because the wound was burning. The blood was burnt out instantly by the flames. Such a terrifying scene appeared in front of everyone. The second one who screamed was the blonde five elders. He seemed to have some magical ability. No one saw him rushing forward, but when he appeared, he had already passed Kaido, and at the same time he had passed the sword spirit. Arrived in front of Ye Chen. It's a pity that his abilities may be amazing, but his brain can't flatter him. This guy didn't even know that the nerve got the wrong line, so he reached out and grabbed Ye Chen directly. When his hand touched the starvation of the dying sun jersey covering Ye Chen's body, the consequences can be imagined. Ah, my arm. The blonde five elders clutched his right arm and screamed. As soon as his right hand touched the dying sun's prison jacket, it instantly turned into ashes. Fortunately, he stopped in time, otherwise, his whole person will probably be wiped out. How can you offend the dying sun's prison clothes? Hey, five elders, that's it. Ye Chen couldn't help but disdain. The fate of others is not very good either. Although the ant had armed her whole body with a high-level armament Haki, she was still hit by the sword directly. Chapter 215. Although there were no wounds on her body, from her sunken chest and the blood spurting out wildly, one could know that she had a hard time. Even the first realized that something was wrong, so the other five elders who chose to join forces to resist this sword aura were also repelled by this sword aura. Fujitora and Green Bull teamed up, and they were also knocked into the air by the sword. They flipped several times in the air before they stabilized. What a brutal sword spirit. With just a single blow, did five elders, Anti, Kaido, Fujitora, and Green Bull all lose out. Just now, I was not ashamed to say that Ye Chen was afraid that the people who were not going to fall here were all dumbfounded. What is this? Slap on the face. Even Ye Chen felt that things were a bit too simple. What's the matter? Are they too weak, or is it too strong? Ye Chen is a little skeptical. He hasn't used Ryūjin Jakka Bankai's form to cast the cannibal sword. You can't resist it. This is too disappointing. However, things can of course not be so simple. Understood. As long as he doesn't directly touch his so-called dying sun prison shirt with his body, his move is not a big threat to us. As for the 09 sword chi, we can resist it together. The blonde five elders, who was still screaming just now, suddenly said something arrogantly. Ye Chen heard the words and looked at him, only to realize that this guy's right arm, which was burned to ashes by the sun's prison clothes, had condensed again. Yes, it is condensed. Countless silver-white liquid came out from the scorched wound of his arm, a bit like liquid metal. These liquid metals quickly built his arms, bones, meridians, blood, muscles, and skin. Soon, his arms recovered as before. If it weren't for his expensive sleeves and the traces of being burned, people would probably think that his arm was burned to ashes just now. It was just an illusion. However, all of this is true. How is it possible that even if it is Logia demon fruit power, the body is burned to ashes by the sun's prison clothes, and it is impossible to recover again? Ye Chen was very surprised by this. Seeing Ye Chen, who has always been calm and composed, his face was surprised for the first time, and the blonde five elders was even more proud. What are you surprised about, kid Ye Chen? What did you say just now? That's five elders. What's wrong? Now I know I am surprised. The blonde five elders sneered. I knew it couldn't be that simple. It seems that I really underestimated you. Ye Chen has to admit that what he just thought was a bit too simple. Five elders really are five old foxes that are hidden. But, what if you let you see through this trick? Can you beat me? Ye Chen is still so arrogant. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Since you know that your dying sun prison clothes will be fine as long as they don't come into direct contact, then it's not difficult to deal with you. Big Knife Five Elders spoke, and for the first time he drew the knife that was longer than his body. Supreme Sharp Knife. One sword flow the fish in the mirror. Big Knife Five Elders murmured with the supreme sharp knife across his chest. Then, he suddenly rushed to Ye Chen very quickly, slashing his head. No, even the flames and thunder and lightning can be turned into ashes from the sunken sun jacket on his body. The ant, who had suffered a great loss, yelled first. She knew how powerful the lightning and flames produced by Thunder Cloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus were. She knew that they could be turned into ashes by the sun's vestments, and other things could be imagined. Even if it is the supreme sharp knife, I am afraid that it will be burned to ashes when it is not in contact with the dying sun's prison clothes. Do not. Broadsword Five Elders firmly believed in the words of the blonde Five Elders, and he did not stop. Ye Chen slashed 5 elders with a big knife, but he was indifferent. It wasn't until he saw that the knife was about to be wiped on Ye Chen's neck, that he quickly stepped back and avoided the knife easily and without danger. However, what Ye Chen avoids is very easy. However, those who cared for him made a cold sweat. Even Asides couldn't help but feel tight. Yes, as long as it can be seen by an individual, the big knife 5 elders just put the knife across his chest, it is not cool. The power of this knife, combined with the supreme sharp knife in hand, even Ulquiorra dare not pay for it and can easily take it. Call out. The long knife slashed across the flames of the dying sun's prison clothes. Suddenly, the blade of the long sword was ignited by the flames, and it looked like it would be burned to ashes by the flames in the next second. When the ant saw this, she couldn't help but yelled, "I'll just say it. You just don't listen to me." However, compared to the anxious ant, Dadao 5 elders was quite calm. Retreat. Big Knife 5 elders suddenly yelled, his arm shook, shaking. Suddenly, a high-level armament Haki quickly covered the long knife, dispelling and shattering the flames on the knife. Far from being burned to ashes, the long knife is still intact. This. The ant was dumbfounded. It turned out to be like this. No wonder, the blonde 5 elders would say, as long as the body doesn't directly touch the dying sun's prison clothes. Because the body touches the prison clothes of the remnant sun, it will be burned to ashes in an instant, and it takes a while for the flames to burn things made of metal such as swords to ashes. During this period of time, using Haki can disperse and smash the flames. Now that I know that this method can be used to deal with Ye Chen, there is nothing to be afraid of. After trying 5 elders, everyone attacked Ye Chen again. Only this time, they no longer rushed to Ye Chen recklessly, but took out their own weapons. Even Kaido, who prefers hand-to-hand combat in fights, took out a huge mace covered in pitch black and slammed it down at Ye Chen. Double Horn Napoleon. Yes, the ant also yelled, and the double-horned hat on her head jumped into her hand immediately. Then, she put her hand into the hat, as if grabbing something, and gave it a hard pull. Suddenly, a huge sword appeared in her hand. The double-angled hat is turned into a hilt and a sword end. Fujitora drew out the rod and knife again, and the green bull went down from his waist with a long green thorn whip. The other 5 elders also took out their weapons. For example, the weapon of 5 elders with curly hair turned out to be the code in his hand. The only one who used no weapon and still attacked Ye Chen with his bare hands was the blonde 5 elders. Chapter 216. The blonde 5 elders has a grumpy temper and a bad personality, but it has to be said that his strength or ability is indeed very strong and should not be underestimated. He was also the only one among so many people present who was not afraid of the sunken sun shirt on Ye Chen. Ding. Jingle bells. Bang. Boom. It was another fierce fight. Even if Ye Chen is one opponent to 9, he still doesn't panic. Although the offense of 5 elders and others was fierce, Ye Chen was not covered. He just held a Ryūjin Jakka in his hand and resisted everyone's fierce attack. However, the more he fought, the more Ye Chen felt that something was wrong. Ant, Kaido, Fujitora, and Green Bull are enough. Although they all have the top strength in the pirate world, the strength of the Sea Emperor, Ye Chen's strength has far surpassed the Sea Emperor, not to mention that he is still in the state of night gods, so it is a piece of cake to deal with the 4 of them. However, the 5 old men of 5 elders are different. Ye Chen has a tricky and difficult feeling when playing against them. The blonde 5 elders is nothing more, he seems to have the ability of liquid metal fruit, which can transform any part of the body into liquid metal, and can also transform any part of the body into any shape. Even the dying sun's prison clothes couldn't hurt him. As for other 5 elders, such as the broadsword 5 elders, their kendo skills are no worse than the world's strongest swordsman, Hawkeye Dracula Mahawk. There is also the curly hair 5 elders, which can release laser shock from the book, and its power is also very important. In contrast, the impact of the Buddha in the form of the Sengoku Great Buddha is nothing more than that. 5 elders, a brawny bald man, has no less physical strength than Kaido, the strongest creature in the world. All in all, each of these 5 old men is so hidden. Perhaps, if they hadn't kept hiding their strength, then in this world, many of the world's strongest might have changed hands. How is it possible? Is 5 elders so powerful? Ye Chen was shocked. Although he had long guessed that the 5 old guys, 5 elders, are absolutely hidden, but she still thinks that their strength is at the same level as a Sea Emperor like Ant and Kaido. Unexpectedly, they are even stronger than the Ant and Kaido. In other words, their strength is the same as Ye Chen, and they must surpass the Emperor of the Sea. Of course, compared with Ye Chen is naturally stronger. However, this makes Ye Chen feel a sense of crisis. 5 elders are so powerful, so how strong will the man-woman? Behind them, Yim, who is known as the master of the Void Throne. Perhaps, Yim's strength has far surpassed the highest combat strength in this world. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Otherwise, how could he stand up to the complaints of the people and dominate the whole world for 800 years? Not because he is at the pinnacle of the food chain. It seems that it is necessary to solve 5 elders here. The strength of 5 elders is beyond Ye Chen's imagination, so Ye Chen naturally doesn't want to keep them. They are a disaster sooner or later, and the sooner they are solved, the better. Just so, let you try Kanha Taito's third style of the Fire 10 Trillion Burial Array. Ye Chen said. He was planning to perform the third style of Canfire Taito. However, at this moment, Ye Chen's heart suddenly agitated, and he felt a wave of fatigue hitting him. Whether it is strength, physical strength or spirit, all have dropped by a notch. It's not so coincidental, is it time for the Night God, state? Ye Chen immediately understood what was going on. The Night God state was lifted just at this time. That's it, the huge drawbacks of the Night God trick have also been revealed, causing Ye Chen's strength, physical strength, and mental strength to drop drastically. Sure enough, the side effects of this trick are still a bit big. It seems that there is still a lot of room for improvement. Ye Chen murmured in his heart. Cough cough, he wouldn't admit that it was because after he became the Night God, he played a lot of fun and played around with Katakuri, Jin, Fujitora, and Green Bull. Otherwise, after incarnation of the Night God, if he was serious, he would have solved the group of guys in front of him long ago. This point made Ye Chen think of Goku and Vegeta in Dragon Ball after Goku and Vegeta were combined. After the combination, they were too powerful and would not fight the enemy seriously, but played with them. As a result, it is natural to pretend to be the first place, and the winning rate is 0. On the side, 5 elders and others, when they saw Ye Chen's aggressiveness, as if they were about to perform the third style of the Raging Sword, they suddenly raised their hearts. They knew very well that Kanha was too powerful, so naturally they didn't dare to underestimate it. However, they found that Ye Chen's action suddenly stopped abruptly. The substantive dark red steam covering his whole body also disappeared without a trace. This is. 5 elders and others froze for a while, and then quickly reacted. Could it be said that their tactics worked, and Ye Chen's physical strength was exhausted by them? Thinking of this, 5 elders and others suddenly burst into ecstasy. Now, it is a good opportunity to deal with Ye Chen. Good opportunity, take advantage of his weakness, let's go together. The bald 5 elders yelled immediately. Well, Ye Chen, I just said, today is your death date. Weo. The ant laughed. Of course, she was merciless when she started her hand. The giant sword in her hand displayed an astonishingly powerful move, Prestige. A knife slashed at Ye Chen. This knife, not so much as cutting people in half, is more like using unmatched knife power to crush people into meat sauce. Therefore, before the sword energy fell, the earth could no longer withstand the sword energy, and it began to crack. Thunder 8 trigrams. Kaido also smashed at Ye Chen with a Spike Lee's rod. In the face of everyone's offense, Ye Chen, who was in a weak period, naturally knew that he could not head on head to head, so he decided to avoid the edge for the time being. Hard to lose, but is it not easy to avoid it? Call out. Shoo. Ye Chen easily avoided everyone's siege. Jia, Ye Chen, weren't you very arrogant at first? How come now, you will only dodge, but you are fighting back? After further verifying that Ye Chen's strength has indeed dropped by more than 1 grade, the blonde 5 elders became even more proud and couldn't help but sneer and mock. Maybe my strength has declined, but it is more than enough to deal with you. The blonde 5 elders' voice just fell, Ye Chen's cold voice sounded just behind him. What? When did you run behind me? The blonde 5 elders was taken aback, he knew he was careless. Chapter 217. Go to hell. For some reason, Ye Chen didn't feel bad about the other 5 elders, but he didn't like this perverse blonde 5 elders. Therefore, he naturally did not show mercy, and blessed the high-level armament Haki's kick, kicking it towards the head of the blonde 5 elders at a light speed. Fast speed. The blonde 5 elders wanted to hide, but found themselves unable to hide. This kick is even faster than Kizaru's light kick. Have you been kicked by the light? If Ye Chen hit 2 points, he would definitely learn Kizaru's tone and say this sentence. Of course, Ye Chen did not do this. Bang. The head of the blonde 5 elders was directly kicked and exploded by Ye Chen. Wow. Everyone at the scene was in an uproar. The kick was too strong, and they felt their heads were a little cold, and they couldn't help touching their heads. However, the unthinkable happened. The voice of the blonde 5 elders, who was supposed to be dead, whose head was kicked, rang again. Jia, this is it. After hearing the words, everyone came to their senses, and was horrified to find that the sloppy head of the blonde 5 elders kicked was actually recovering. The liquid metal was flowing, reshaping his head. What is this possible? Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Ye Chen's kick just now, but he used the advanced armament Haki. It stands to reason that even if it is a Logia demon fruit power like crocodile, the head is covered with a kick of the high-end armament Haki, it is dead and can't die again. Because Conqueror's Haki is the nemesis of Logia demon fruit power. However, unexpectedly, the blonde 5 elders seems to be detached from this category. His liquid metal, after being kicked to his head, could still condense again. Moreover, the liquid metal swept toward Ye Chen's right foot restlessly. It seemed that he was going to wrap Ye Chen. Ye Chen naturally wouldn't let it succeed. With a kick on the ground with his left foot, he quickly withdrew back, letting the liquid metal pounce. What's going on? This blonde 5 elders is a little weird. Ye Chen originally thought that the blonde 5 elders should be Logia demon fruit power. Therefore, Even if a certain part of the body is burned to ashes by the sun's prison clothes, he can use his power to recover instantly. But now it seems that it is not that simple. One sword stream flower butterfly dance. Unfortunately, no one will give Ye Chen extra time to think. Long knife. 5 elders, brandishing a long knife, attacked Ye Chen again. This time, he changed from sweeping to vertical chopping. With a slash, an illusory scene appeared behind him. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Among the flowers, countless butterflies danced lightly. Of course, Ye Chen will not be confused by this disturbing scene. After this beautiful scene, there is a horrible sword spirit hidden behind. Shoo. The sword energy has not fallen, the earth has been raged by the sword energy Madara Madara. The sword chi fell on Ye Chen's prison jacket, extinguishing the flames of the jacket, and left scratches on the jacket. Although it failed to destroy the cannibal son's prison clothes, as long as another knife was taken, the cannibal son's prison cloak could not be resisted. Moreover, the attack on Ye Chen, of course, was not only the big sword, 5 elders, but others followed closely and launched a fierce attack on Ye Chen. Heat. Kaido is even more in the form of a dragon, hovering in his mouth, with a big mouth, spraying heat towards Ye Chen. The heat is naturally lost, but the huge power will evaporate a Shantou in an instant. The forest in the distance was also igniting a terrible fire. No, it can't go on like this. Ye Chen had to admit that 5 elders' strategy was successful. With so many people on the scene, no one was his opponent, but when they joined forces, this strength should not be underestimated. Moreover, they cooperate with each other and cover each other. Even if Ye Chen wants to break one by one, it is difficult to do it. Unless Ye Chen flees and fights. The 5 elders, all of them at least have the strength of the Sea Emperor, especially the 5 old guys, 5 elders, whose strength is even higher than that of the Sea Emperor. But their speed is uneven. As long as they flee and fight, they still have the opportunity to create a favorable situation for themselves, and then defeat them one by one. But let Ye Chen escape, is this absolutely impossible? In the past, only others fled, he never fled. It seems that you can only use that method. Ye Chen said to himself suddenly. Seeds, who was in communion with Ye Chen, felt Ye Chen's determination, and his face changed drastically. Isn't it? Ye Chen intends to sell Ryūjin Jakka Bankai. This is incredible, it will burn the entire world with flames. But it is true that as long as Ryūjin Jakka Bankai is used to display the third style, fire of 10 trillions of deaths, it is indeed possible to solve all the people in 5 elders and resolve the crisis with only one move. However, does Ye Chen really take this risk? As it turns out, of course Seeds thinks too much. System, summon a spiritual time house. Ye Chen said to the system in his heart. Yes, Ye Chen just intends to summon a spiritual time house. As for Bankai, he didn't even think about it. After all, the price is too high. When it is not a last resort, Ye Chen will not know Bankai Ryūjin Jakka. Okay, host. As the system responded, in the next second, behind Ye Chen, a dazzling light appeared. Then, a room with a strange shape and a clock hung in the middle of the roof appeared in front of everyone. When Seed saw this, he was relieved. As for the 5 elders and others, they only felt that they were dazzled by the strong light, and when they came back to their senses, they found that a room had appeared behind Ye Chen out of thin air. Where is this house from? 5 elders and others were puzzled. I don't remember what kind of house fruit power he is. Curly hair 5 elders said. Follow him, it's just a room. Ye Chen obviously can't beat us, so he played these tricks. Don't be fooled, just go together. The blonde 5 elders snorted coldly. Yes, he won't last long. The ant also yelled in a sharp voice. Last time, in Alabaston, she was beaten by Ye Chen with no power to fight back. Now, she finally had the opportunity to press Ye Chen to fight. She hasn't enjoyed this kind of pleasure yet. Humph. In response, Ye Chen just snorted. There is a kind, you guys will follow. With that, Ye Chen turned around and entered the spiritual time house. When everyone heard the words, they were immediately taken aback. Among them is fraud. This is the first thought in everyone's mind. Chapter 218. Who can guarantee whether this room that has emerged out of thin air is full of killing agencies waiting for them? But when they thought of Ye Chen's words before entering the spiritual time house, they couldn't get angry. It's unreasonable, who do you look down on? Kaido roared and turned into a dragon. He couldn't control the impulse in his heart. He planned to rush into the spiritual time room and ask Ye Chen to settle the account. However, as soon as he arrived at the door, he was stopped by the big sword 5 old man Xing. Wait, this matter, I think it needs a long-term plan. It's too reckless to rush in directly. Broadsword 5 elders opened the mouth. There is still time to make a long-term plan. If this room is actually an escape route, isn't it possible to just watch Ye Chen escape? Kaido was very dissatisfied. Impossible. Unless, Ye Chen wants to abandon all his companions and run away alone. 5 elders objected. He is right. Ye Chen is arrogant. He is definitely not the kind of person who will abandon his companions and run away alone. Besides, if he does escape, then we will attack his companions. Curly hair 5 elders said, focusing on Ulquiorra and the others. Because the names of 5 elders are not found on the internet, they are all written with unknown real names, so here I will use their voice actors' names to address them. There will be changes in the follow-up, and then make changes. After hearing this, everyone felt that it was the same. Can the monk still run the temple if it can run? If Ye Chen runs away, they will jointly attack Ulquiorra and others, and take Ulquiorra and others down. Then, launched an attack on the headquarters of the Black Duck Pirates. Hehe, they don't believe it, how long can Ye Chen hide? Then we are now, really let go of Ye Chen. The ant said. Their tripartite cooperation is not an easy task. I missed the best opportunity to deal with Ye Chen. In the future, the chance of the 3 parties joining forces again is very slim. Therefore, the ant just asked this question. How can that be? Chi Yi, also known as 5 elders, said immediately. So, we now need to consider a long-term plan before deciding whether to break into this weird house. As Qi spoke, he looked up at the clock on the mental time house. He always felt that this room was very special, but he couldn't tell where it was special. I think you should enter the house immediately and don't let Ye Chen take the opportunity to escape. No, I think there must be fraud in the house. Ye Chen wants us to rush in immediately. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. I think we should guard the front and back of the house, beware of Ye Chen's escape, and wait for the rabbit. I don't believe it, he can stay in that house for a lifetime. Stop waiting for the rabbit. I remember that this idiom is a derogatory term. If we really wait for the rabbit, don't we become that stupid farmer? Shenny, how do you talk? 5 elders, the 5 old guys, even quarreled because of this. Kaido, the dragon form hovering in the air, immediately became impatient when he heard this. I said, what are you doing so much in the long-term plan? Just let Laozi take a breath of heat and evaporate it. Kaido said loudly. Hey, that's a good idea. Kaido, you can try. As soon as Kaido said this, he unexpectedly won the unanimous endorsement of 5 elders. They also felt that they could try to attack this room. If this room is just an ordinary room, and it evaporates directly with a breath of heat, then Ye Chen who is hiding in it will have to show up. If it's not an ordinary house, then think about it longer. Heat. Kaido was too lazy to talk nonsense when he heard the words. He opened his dragon's mouth and quickly condensed a burst of fireball, and then, a mouthful of heat sprayed towards the spiritual time house. Boom. The heat bombarded the spiritual time house, and suddenly there was a big explosion. The flames skyrocketed. However, when the fire dissipated, everyone was shocked to find that the spiritual time house was intact and there was no trace of damage. What's going on? Laozi's heat can't destroy a house. Kaido showed an incredible expression. It seems that this room is really special. It is estimated that ordinary attacks will not be effective on him. 5 elders, holding the curly hair of the codex, murmured as he touched his chin. 0 find flowers 0. Even if he was in charge of the IQ of the team, he didn't understand the structure of this room for a while. Really? Let me try it. Well, Weo. The ant screamed, and the giant sword fiercely smashed the mental time house, attempting to destroy the mental time house with one sword. When the giant sword in the ant's hand, which was much larger than the spiritual time house, was directly bounced away, sparks splashing everywhere. Moreover, because the giant's swordsmanship, prestige, is so powerful, and the rebounding force is also great, the giant sword in the hands of the ant was even directly shaken and flew out. The ant also felt that her entire arm was numb, as if she was abolished. Fujitora, Green Bull, try it. ... 0. The ant has done it, and 5 elders doesn't mind, let a few people try. Yes. After hearing this, Fujitora and Green Bull also used their fruit abilities to attack the spiritual time house, but neither gravity nor vitality had any effect on the spiritual time house. Next, several 5 elders also launched different attacks on the mental time house. However, all is useless. Whether it is a physical attack or fruit ability, whether it is a knife or axe, or a fire and flood, it has no effect on the mental time house. ... Ye Chen, who was in the spiritual time room, also felt huge movements from the outside world. When the movement was the greatest, the space in the spiritual time room even had dark cracks, but they soon healed. Ye Chen knows very well that it must be the blonde 5 elders and others outside, trying to destroy it by attacking the mental time house. In this regard, Ye Chen just smiled without talking. Nonsense. If the spiritual time house from the God Realm in Dragon Ball, is so easy to destroy, then at the beginning, Monkey King hid in the spiritual time house to practice, and Sharu had already destroyed the spiritual time house and then killed it. There will be no follow-up plot. The spiritual time house, produced by the hand of God, is naturally sheltered by divine power or magic. Basically, any attack cannot destroy it. Therefore, Ye Chen doesn't need to worry about anything at all. He just stays in the mental time house with peace of mind and races against time to practice force. Chapter 219. However, the 5 elders and others outside did not know that the more they wasted time doing all kinds of meaningless things, the more they entered the spiritual time house 1 second later, the more time left for Ye Chen to practice. This is the spiritual time house. ... Finally, after a lot of efforts were wasted, the faces of 5 elders and others gradually became serious. Hey, Old guys, what do you say now? The ant asked impatiently. The attack couldn't cause any harm to the mental time house, and the discussion for a long time had no results. She was really impatient. There's no way, after all, it's not a good way to stand alone. Let's all go in together, so that even if Ye Chen is messing up in it, we can take care of each other, and beware of being tricked by him. In the end, 5 elders with curly hair could only groan. 250. This is a good way. Even if the house is really full of institutions, there are so many of us together, don't be afraid. Broadsword 5 elders readily agreed. In this way, after wasting nearly an hour, 5 elders and others finally decided to enter the spiritual time house together. It's a pity that they don't know, they seem to have wasted just an hour outside, but Ye Chen inside has been practicing for more than half a month. You know, one day outside is equivalent to a year in the spiritual time house. After making the decision, 5 elders and others finally did not hesitate. A total of 9 people entered the spiritual time house together. When they walked through the door into the spiritual time house, everyone obviously felt a trance. After entering the spiritual time room, all 9 of them were dumbfounded. Is this a room? This is obviously a space, alright. Yes, as soon as they walked in the door, their eyes suddenly opened up. They found that the space in the house was much larger than they thought, and they couldn't even see the far wall, which is the edge of this space, even when they raised their eyes. The only thing they can see is the door behind them. This is another space. Fujitora was the first to ask in surprise. Although his eyes are blind, his heart is bright. At a glance, the space in this room is not simple. Unexpectedly, in a small room, it becomes a space by itself. And this space seems to be endless, even if it is a strong city fruit ability, it is absolutely incomparable. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Curly hair 5 elders murmured, his hand holding the codex harder. It seemed that he was shocked by this incredible space. Also, after all, in this world, even if Capone Beige is the holder of Janchung fruit, he can only create a castle space in his body. In a small castle, how can there be such an endless space? The 5 elders even thought that if Ye Chen used this space to ambush tens of thousands of pirates under the Black Duck pirate group. So, whether it is used against them or against the world government, it is definitely a disaster. Of course, they completely misunderstood the usage of the mental time house. Everyone can only stay in the spiritual time house for 2 days outside time, which is 2 years. To use the spiritual time house to Tibetans, it is simply overkill. A lot of space. Old guys, I said it a long time ago, if we come in later, Ye Chen guy, maybe we will run away. There are traps in the house. Where are the traps? In my opinion, Ye Chen just wants to rely on this huge space to escape to some place to hide, so that we can find it. This place is so big, we have to find out it's not easy for him. The ant complained again. She still believes that Ye Chen entered the spiritual time house to escape. After all, this space is so big, if he runs somewhere to hide, they are afraid it will be easy to find. Fortunately, they only delayed for an hour before they decided to come in together. Therefore, as long as you show observation Haki, you can easily find Ye Chen's footprints. There are indeed no traps, but we still have to be careful. Broadsword 5 elders grimly said. This space is like a plane, there are no obstructions, and it is true that there are no traps at a glance. But he still feels that there is something wrong with it. Don't talk to me about long-term considerations. It's better to be careful. As the strongest creature in the world, Laozi is not afraid of this. Kaido growled. It seems that the world has called him the strongest creature for many years, and he has become accustomed to problems, and really thinks that he is not the power of injury. He didn't even think about who was seriously injured by Ye Chen before and had to hide and recuperate for months. Yes, we split up and went to look for Ye Chen. Whoever finds Ye Chen, don't do it alone, and inform others. If everyone is there, then we can do it together. The ant who couldn't wait naturally agreed readily. She finally saw a glimmer of hope to defeat Ye Chen, how could she give up so easily? Over the past few months, she has hated Ye Chen, who has swallowed a lot of her territory. She even grafted these hatreds to Whitebeard. If Whitebeard hadn't died early, she would have settled the accounts with Whitebeard after she solved Ye Chen. To let her hand over the site to Ye Chen is really deceiving. The ant thought more and more angry. No, absolutely not. If you act alone, it is easy for Ye Chen to take advantage of it, and then defeat each of us. Although our strength is strong, we are not Ye Chen's kid opponent at all. White-haired 5 elders immediately objected. Or, pair by 2. But we have 9 people, 1 more person. Then 3 are right, just 3 teams. Team 3. This space is so big. With 3 teams, to find Ye Chen, you have to find the year of the monkey. 5 elders, Auntie and Kaido quarreled again. Fujitora and Green Bull on the side looked at them arguing, very helpless. The 2 looked at each other, but they couldn't interrupt. The 2 of them are actually not weaker than the ant and Kaido, but their current status is after all a civilian, and they have not been promoted to Marine Admiral, so naturally they have little weight to speak. Watching several people quarreling endlessly, Fujitora couldn't help it finally. Chapter 220. Have you noticed that there is something wrong with the sky in this space? What are these flowing or distorted light? Is it time? Although Fujitora can't see with his eyes, with his mind, he can catch more things more keenly. After hearing this, everyone stopped arguing and looked towards the sky. Indeed, as Fujitora said, the sky in this space is full of radiance, and the light in the sky is flowing and distorted. It looks very strange. No, could it be that the time flow rate in this space is different from the outside world? Big Knife 5 elders looked at the radiance of the sky and realized the seriousness of the matter. When other people heard this, they also showed surprises. The flow of time in this world, if it is different from the outside world. In that case, did they waste too much time in the outside world? Just when everyone realized something, Ye Chen's voice rang out from behind them. Oh, 9 is true. As you guessed, the time flow rate in this space is indeed different from the outside world. 1 day in the outside world is equivalent to 1 year here. So, you can calculate, how long have I been recuperating here? Here, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Ye Chen said lightly. As soon as these words came out, 5 elders and others were shocked. 1 day outside is equivalent to 1 year here. So, they quarreled outside for an hour. Ye Chen has been recuperating here for more than half a month. When they thought of this, 5 elders felt bad as a whole. Damn, if you had known that the time flow rate in this room was different from the outside world, why would they waste so much time? They just rushed into the room. Thinking about it now, they feel that they are really stupid. Isn't there a huge clock hanging on the top of the house? This means that this room is related to time. Unfortunately, at the time they only thought of Ye Chen as a villain, and thought that he would set up numerous organs in the house, waiting for them to enter the urn. Well, Ye Chen, even if what you say is true, what about it? Do you really think that you can beat the 9 of us together in your practice for more than half a month? Well, you are a fool. However, just when everyone's faces were solemn, the ant laughed. After hearing the words, everyone also felt that what the ant said was reasonable. Not to mention, is the flow of time here as exaggerated as Ye Chen said, maybe it's just that the outside day is equivalent to the first month in it. But Ye Chen deliberately exaggerated it. Even if what Ye Chen said was true, he just spent more than half a month practicing here, and he wanted to defeat 9 of them for more than half a month. Just like what the ant said, it was an idiot. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Really, foolishly talking about dreams. How can you know if you don't try it? Besides, don't you realize that the temperature and gravity of this world are very different from those of the outside world? Ye Chen said, his face showed a good-looking expression. Sure enough, when 5 elders and others heard this, their expressions suddenly changed. Ye Chen did not say that they did not notice that the temperature and gravity of this space are much higher and larger than those of the outside world. Of course, we can't blame 5 elders for being too careless. They didn't even notice the temperature of 40 or 50 degrees and the gravity of 10 times. After all, before they came in, the external environment was even worse. Because Ye Chen's display of the residual fire sword caused the surrounding temperature to reach a terrifying temperature, at least it was on Baidu. In addition, the gravity field created by Fujitora has increased the external gravity more than 10 or 20 times. In short, the outside world, that is, the temperature and gravity of the 3-masted sailboat, are also abnormal now. They go from a place with abnormal temperature and gravity to another place with abnormal temperature and gravity, and it is naturally difficult to detect what is wrong. Now after Ye Chen reminded them, they just realized it. With such a high temperature and such a heavy gravity, it may not be a big deal to cultivate for 2 days and 1 night. But what if a person has cultivated for more than half a month under such high temperature and gravity? Thinking of this, 5 elders and the others are not good again. Ye Chen was already strong enough. Now, let him practice in this environment for more than half a month, wouldn't it be? Of course, this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that Ye Chen must have been recuperating for a long time. In other words, his strength, stamina, and spirit were greatly compromised due to the side effects caused by the use of Night God at the beginning. It is estimated that he has been restored to his peak state after recuperation. Thinking of this, they couldn't help taking a breath. Thinking about it now, they are all annoyed that they didn't follow up immediately. As long as they chase after victory, at least they feel they are chasing after victory, and they don't give Ye Chen any chance to breathe. Their 9 powerhouses join forces to win Ye Chen, but it is a matter of time. But now, I said, what do you think so much? Indeed, the temperature and gravity of this space are higher than those of the outside world, but what? The more the strength reaches the bottleneck, the more difficult it is to make progress. Do you really think that he can beat us by cultivating here for half a month? The ant roared again. Although she made 5 elders very irritable with her sharp and loud voice, this time, they had to admit that what the ant said really made sense. Even if Ye Chen practiced for half a month in such an environment, the 9 of them teamed up and couldn't take him down. Then you can try. Ye Chen was also happy when he heard the words, and couldn't help but speak. These people, it seems, still do not realize the seriousness of the problem. Who is he? He is Ye Chen. Not to mention it's been more than half a month. As long as he is given a day or 2, coupled with the cooperation of the system, his strength can be doubled at will. It's a pity that even if Ye Chen explained this to people like them, it would be impossible for them to understand. According to their thinking, they only think that when a person's strength reaches the bottleneck peak, that is, the Sea Emperor level, it is very difficult to go further. But for them, this is the ceiling. For Ye Chen, it is actually just the beginning. The strength of the pirate's world does not mean it is the peak. In this world, there are many parallel worlds and different worlds, and the strength settings of each world are different. Chapter 221. The four emperors may be the pinnacle of existence in the world of pirates, but in other worlds, such as the world of Dragon Ball, which can blast the earth with a single punch, it is just that. People even burst the universe. You are still fighting for the domination of the sea. Haha, don't you think it's too ridiculous? The structure is too small. But no way, this is the limitation that every world has. People in this world want to break through these limitations, unless they are also allowed to travel to another world, otherwise, they simply cannot imagine. It's like a Westerner who can't imagine how wonderful the ferry road in the Eastern world is. Therefore, the improvement of Ye Chen's strength is immeasurable. After all, he has no limitations. Even if the world has limitations, it is not as difficult as imagined to break through the limitations of this world as long as there is a system to help. Try and try, is it possible that my aunt would still be afraid of you? Ye Chen kid will not succeed. Weo. The ant snarled. Then, he slashed at Ye Chen. Weo is worthy of the giant's swordsmanship. It is so powerful that it can only be swept out with a single knife, and the entire space and the earth are shattered. However, the earth in this space is very weird. After being broken, it immediately healed. In other words, no matter what kind of major damage is done in this space, there is no need to worry about causing this space to collapse or sink. Unless your strength is extremely terrifying, beyond the capacity of the space, then it's hard to say. For now, no one can do it, not even Ye Chen. After all, the demon Boo who swept the universe could not destroy the space of the spiritual time house. In other words, in this space, Ye Chen can even display the aftermath of Benkai Teisho. Once Benkai's Ryūjin Jakka is used to display Canfire Taito, what will happen to five elders and others? It's interesting to think about it. I'm afraid not, everyone is buried here. The swordsmanship of the giants is nothing more than that backquote. Ye Chen sneered. He didn't even evade. Instead, he stretched out two fingers and clamped them towards the huge sword in the ant's hand. When a clear voice sounded, an incredible scene happened to everyone present. Ye Chen actually used two fingers to clamp the giant sword that the ant was struggling to cut down. The great power of the giant swordsmanship, prestige, was completely taken over by Ye Chen. How can that be? Green Bull couldn't help but yell. His eyes widened and his pupils constricted. Now, he finally understands how Akainu died in the hands of Ye Chen. Fortunately, he thought that after becoming Marine Admiral, Akainu neglected to practice. It seems that he is still too naive. It's not that Akainu is too weak, but Ye Chen is too strong. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Five elders and others were also very surprised and looked at each other. Is this the result of Ye Chen's practice for more than half a month? Don't be too scary. Of course, the most shocking is the ant. When she was out there before, she displayed, Weo, Ye Chen still didn't dare to confront face to face, either to block or avoid with a knife in her hand. But now, he actually clamped her giant sword with two fingers. How could this be possible? This is not what shocked the ant the most. What shocked her the most was that even if she tried to pull out the giant sword, she couldn't pull it out anyway. Let go. The ant blushed and roared. However, no matter how hard she tried, it was of no avail. Thundercloud Zeus. Sun Prometheus. In desperation, the ant could only summon the Thundercloud Zeus and the Sun Prometheus to Homits. The anthropomorphic object is called Homits, to help. Yes, after receiving the order from the ant, Thundercloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus did not dare to neglect. Fire in the sky. Thunderbolt. Prometheus the sun and Zeus Thundercloud each performed their utmost. Rumble. Suddenly, a violent fire fell from the sky. Accompanied by thousands of thunder. Rumble, rumble. This scene is like the end of the world. And this is just the strength of the ant alone. It is hard to imagine what a magnificent and heroic scene if all 9 people burst out with all their strengths. The end of the world, I am afraid that is not the case. No wonder, those people before, think Ye Chen is definitely not 5 elders and their 9 opponents. Indeed, if anyone from the outside knows that 5 elders, Ant, Kaido, Fujitora and Green Bull will join forces against Ye Chen, it is estimated that most people will think so. It's a pity that the actions of 5 elders and others are very secretive this time, and few people can hear the wind. Let alone other pirate groups, even Ye Chen's Black Crow pirate group, haven't they heard the news beforehand? It can only be said that 5 elders has done a very good job of keeping secrets in this operation. They are determined to win Ye Chen. O. Thundercloud Zeus, Prometheus Sun, and Napoleon in the double-horned hat, but 3 good things. Ye Chen is naturally impossible to be shocked by the eruption of Thundercloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus. But he was interested in 3 things. Perhaps, they can be plundered as their own. What? Plundering other people's hearts, this approach is too despicable. Sorry, Laozi was originally a pirate. Pirates, isn't it just burning, killing and plundering? Just do what you say. When the fire in the sky and the thunderbolt came down, Ye Chen decisively released the hand holding the giant sword, and then turned into a dark red figure, avoiding the thunder sky and the dense thunder bombardment. As soon as Ye Chen let go, the ant felt extremely relaxed and couldn't help feeling proud. Well, Ye Chen, now you know my Aunt Charlotte Linlin is amazing. The ant laughed. However, in the next second, her face changed drastically. Because she saw a dark red figure, after cleverly avoiding the fire and thousands of thunder in the sky, she went straight to the thundercloud Zeus and Prometheus in the sky. What is he doing? Isn't he going to? The ant suddenly realized something. It's dangerous. Thundercloud Zeus, son Prometheus, come back quickly. The ant roared. However, it has been eaten. It's you too, right, so brave enough to attack me, Ye Chen. Ye Chen's figure has appeared in the sky in an instant. You can reach the thundercloud Zeus and the sun Prometheus with just one hand. What are you? In front of my thundercloud Zeus, I dare to be so arrogant. Chapter 222. Thundercloud Zeus had a grumpy temper. After yelling, he gathered all the thunders together and released a huge thunder, which blasted towards Ye Chen. Yes, what are you? Prometheus the sun is equally arrogant. Presumably, it's because their names are all named after gods, so you really think of yourself as gods. At the same time, the sun Prometheus also shot a pillar of fire. The bursting flames blazed the entire sky red. Make the sky more gorgeous. You only count things, I'm a human being. Ye Chen played a word game. Of course, joking is joking, and he is not slow to start at all. Torch. Ye Chen held Ryūjin Jakka in his hand and swept forward. Boom. The unmatched sword energy immediately smashed the thunder and fire pillar to pieces. It's so easy. At this time, Thundercloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus' complexion changed drastically. They never expected that their most powerful attacking technique would be so vulnerable in front of this man. How can that be? Oh, I will be shocked. Come here. Ye Chen gave a cold cry, and then, with his bare hands, grabbed at Thundercloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus. Thundercloud, Sun, others may not dare to catch with their hands directly, but who is Ye Chen? His hand is covered with a layer of high-grade armament Haki, even if it is the Thundercloud and the Sun, he will grab it. Damn it, Ye Chen, don't you want to succeed? I said, you old guys, what are you doing in a daze? Let's do it together, go. While swinging the huge sword, the ant slashed at Ye Chen, while roaring at the 5 elders and others beside her. I can remember that we agreed in advance to act on Ye Chen together. It was you who had to act recklessly. Curly hair 5 elders expressed dissatisfaction. I'm doing something wrong, and now I'm in trouble, knowing to ask them for help. It's not the time to care about these, let's go together. Ye Chen has been more powerful after half a month of training. If we don't have an ant, it will be even more difficult for us to deal with her. However, the blonde 5 elders spoke for the ant. He regarded Ye Chen as a thorn in his eyes, and naturally did not want the 9 of them to let Ye Chen take advantage of their infighting. Yes, let's go together. Lousy, Ye Chen must die here today. Kaido also gritted his teeth. The myth of his invincibility was broken by Ye Chen, which made him fall from the high altar. His hatred for Ye Chen cannot be easily resolved. Let's go together. No way, 5 elders could only speak. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Then, a group of people attacked Ye Chen again. Huh, do you go together? Ye Chen didn't fear at all, freeing up one right hand to deal with everyone's attacks, and the other hand still grabbed towards Thundercloud Zeus. A mere mortal dare to offend the majesty of this Thundercloud Zeus. Thundercloud Zeus was furious, and immediately, countless waves of thunder bombed Ye Chen. Kanha Taito Shi, Remnant Sun Prison Shirt. Ye Chen yelled, once again covered with flames. Boom. When the thunder bombarded the Canal Sun's prison garment, it was directly exposed to the terrifying heat of the Canal Sun's prison garment, evaporating into nothing. How is it possible? This is thunder. Thundercloud Zeus exclaimed. As Homitsu only obeyed the master's orders, it even gave birth to the idea of running away regardless of the ant's orders. It's a pity that it wants to escape now, it's too late. Come here. Ye Chen shouted angrily, covering his hands with a layer of high-grade armament Haki, which was as dark as iron, and then, through thousands of thunderbolts, grabbed them at Thundercloud Zeus. Do not. Leian Zeus wanted to struggle, but Ye Chen would give it a chance to struggle, immediately grabbed it and threw it into the system space. After taking the Thundercloud Zeus, Ye Chen's gaze naturally fell to the Sun Prometheus. However, before Ye Chen made another move, he encountered heavy obstacles. Ye Chen, you don't want to succeed. The Emperor's sword-breaking blade. The ant who bears the brunt directly slashed at Ye Chen with the huge sword in her hand. Boom. The swordsmanship of the giants is unparalleled. Cut down with one sword, and the whole earth was directly split into 2. Fortunately, this is the space of the spiritual time house. The huge cracks in the earth will be repaired immediately. If it were the outside world, the entire terrifying 3-masted sailboat would probably be split in half by this sword. However, even if the ant erupted with such terrible strength, Ye Chen still did not panic at all. 8 inner gates, 8 gates are on. Night God. Ye Chen turned on the Night God state again, and in an instant, all around him, a Reiatsu burst into the sky like a galaxy. Reiatsu formed a terrifying storm, and even flicked Fujitora and others into Ye Chen's side. After becoming the night god, Ye Chen lifted the Ryūjin Jakka in his hand and swept forward. When, with just a casual sword, she broke the ant's strenuous blow, Emperor Sword breaking blade, and even knocked her whole body into the air. You know, although the ant is not a giant, she is 6 or 7 meters tall, plus she is so obese, it looks like a meat mountain. Her weight can be imagined. It must be in tons. But even so, under Ye Chen's casual sword, she flew out like a kite. If she hadn't fought hard for her life and grabbed the giant sword in her hand, I'm afraid the giant sword would also flew out of her hand. Ye Chen is so powerful. However, now, 5 elders has no time to feel so much. Attack Ye Chen matters. Thunder. Kaido, in the form of a dragon, had a dragon's mouth and roared fiercely. This roar changed the world. The whole space trembles. Thunder turned into a substantive sound wave and shot towards Ye Chen. Jin Yan burst into the sky. The blonde 5 elders also roared, his arms turned into high-temperature liquid metal, and swept towards Ye Chen. These liquid metals are terrifying. Not only are they extremely hot, they can melt any objects they touch in an instant. In addition, if liquid metal touches anything, it will cause a violent explosion. With the 3 of you, you want to prevent me from taking the Sun Prometheus. I have never failed to get what Ye Chen wants. Ye Chen snorted coldly. In the next second, Reiatsu began to gather on him. Not good. Quickly retreat. Everyone immediately realized that something was wrong. This energy Reiatsu was really terrifying. They couldn't resist fighting each other at all, right? Chapter 223. Unfortunately, even if they realize that something is wrong and want to escape, they have already eaten. Under their feet, a large flame formation has already formed. Everyone fell into this big array. Ah, Ye Chen sneered. Kan huo taito nan huo 10 trillion dead burial array. Ye Chen yelled, and then slammed Ryūjin Jakka out of his hand. People thought that Ye Chen wanted to attack them with Ryūjin Jakka, and they dodged one after another. Unfortunately, they all guessed wrong. Whoosh! Ryūjin Jakka turned into a meteor, rushing towards the ground. Then, at the speed of a meteor, it penetrated into the earth. Boom! The earth cracked, and countless flames rose into the sky. The flames formed symbols and unknown characters, forming a huge flame array, bursting and burning. Countless flames, seemingly conscious, blasted everyone in the big formation except Ye Chen. Ah, 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 the flame spirit uttered a roar and swept towards everyone. What the hell is this? Is the flame alive? What? Don't be careless, these flames are very powerful. For a time, everyone was in a mess. Ye Chen's display of Kanha Taito Nan, Huahuo 10 trillion death burial array looks very different from the one displayed by the old man Yamamoto. After the old man Yamamoto performed this trick, countless scorched skeleton flames and undead would crawl out of hell, and the scene was very terrifying. The flame Ye Chen summoned, although it also has spirituality, still looks like a flame. Compared with thousands of skeletons, flames and undead, the deterrence is greatly reduced. However, there is no way. That's because when Ye Chen performed this trick, there was no Bankai Ryūjin Jakka at all. To deal with this group of people, if Bankai Ryūjin Jakka is still needed, it would be a little overkill. Indeed, even some unformed fire spirits still defeated 5 elders and others steadily, and even the blonde 5 elders was injured because of a momentary negligence. The high temperature of his liquid metal is not as good as the temperature of these fire spirits, which he never expected. However, it doesn't matter whether he is injured or not, because he is liquid metal, even if his head and heart are burned to ashes, they will recover immediately. This is simply immortal. In normal times, Ye Chen would definitely feel incredible about the abilities of this blonde 5 elders, but now, he doesn't have free time to express so much emotion, he still has more important things to do. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Come here. Ye Chen ignored the situation on the ground and raised his head again, looking at the sun Prometheus hanging high above his head. What do you want to do? Don't think about it. Heaven is on fire. Prometheus the sun possesses human wisdom, after all, it possesses a human soul. Of course it knows what Ye Chen is going to do to it, just like it did with Thundercloud Zeus just now, it grabs it, and then throws it into a certain space and traps it. How could it allow Ye Chen to succeed? Boom. The sun Prometheus erupted completely, and the monstrous flames burned the entire sky. However, that's it. Ye Chen's voice resounded in the flames. He was covered with the sun's vest, and these extremely high-temperature flames couldn't help him at all. Also, compared to the fire spirits on the ground, the temperature of these flames is so low that it can't be lower, so how could it hurt Ye Chen? Even the impact of the explosion produced by the flames is not enough to destroy the sunken vest. Are you a human or the incarnation of flame? The sun Prometheus questioned it for the first time. It has never questioned whether it is a human or a flame, but in turn questioned whether Ye Chen is the incarnation of a human or a flame. This is simply a great irony. Some people live alive without knowing what they have become. Snapped. Without giving the sun Prometheus a chance to escape, Ye Chen's hand stuck out like a magic claw, pinching the sun Prometheus in his hand. Then the sun Prometheus erupted into a terrifying high temperature, and Ye Chen was not burned even at the slightest amount of heat. After catching the sun Prometheus, Ye Chen didn't take a closer look, and made it according to the law, and directly threw it into the system space. The system space is the space that comes with the system. It is extremely strong. Therefore, Ye Chen is not afraid. The thundercloud Zeus and the sun Prometheus who were thrown into the space by him can work together to break free from it. 0 Find flowers 0. Do not. Thundercloud Zeus. Prometheus the sun. When the ant saw this, she was naturally angry and snarled. However, it's okay for her not to growl. When she growled, she immediately attracted Ye Chen's gaze to her. Ye Chen is naturally not interested in the ugly ants, his eyes are on the giant sword in the hands of the ant, which is the double-horned hat Napoleon. Now that both Thundercloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus have already gotten their hands, Ye Chen naturally wants to get the double-horned hat Napoleon as well. As for, what is the use of collecting these 3 hormies? After all, with Ye Chen's current strength, whether it is thunder or fire, it is of no use to him, even the most practically useful double-horned hat Napoleon. Ye Chen now has Ryūjin Jakka, so he doesn't need it at all. However, it may be useless for Ye Chen himself, but it is useful for others. Ye Chen intends to use them as prizes for the next event. I believe that with the 3 treasures of the ant as prizes, those participating members will definitely be more motivated. After catching Ye Chen's gaze, the ant suddenly felt something was wrong. No, this kid won't even fight Napoleon's idea in my hand. Thinking about it this way, the ant was even more shocked and hurried back. I want to run now, late. Ye Chen's cold voice sounded like a ghost, and it sounded in front of the ant. He did not know when he had appeared in front of the ant and blocked her way. Ye Chen, have something to say. The ant even admitted to counseling. Of course, if you really think that she is confessing, then you are quite wrong. The so-called dog can't change eating shit, this is just one of her clumsy natures. While showing weakness and pretending to be pitiful and begging for mercy, she clenched the giant sword in her hand and slashed at Ye Chen's head again. The Emperor's sword-breaking blade. The ant let out a sharp roar. She feels that Ye Chen does not have a knife in his hand now, and it is impossible to resist her sword with his body. She cut it down with this sword. Ye Chen was not dead and half disabled. Force. Chapter 224. However, all of this has long been seen through by Ye Chen. Whoosh. Ye Chen's figure flashed and suddenly disappeared out of thin air. When he reappeared, he had already come behind the ant. The speed is so fast that even the ant of the Sea Emperor can't see it clearly. The only thing she knows is that her observation Haki constantly warns her that it is dangerous. Unfortunately, even if she knew the danger in advance, she didn't have the time to react at all. Snapped. Ye Chen kicked the ant's back fiercely. What? Accompanied by the ant's heart-piercing screams, her whole body, huge body, actually flew directly. He was kicked by Ye Chen. The physique of the two is obviously so different. And all this just confirms a sentence, whether it is strong or not has nothing to do with body shape. After the ant was kicked by 2, 5 and 3, Ye Chen was about to catch up, and by the way snatched Napoleon in the double-horned hat from the ant. However, at this moment, a liquid metal swept towards Ye Chen. Ye Chen, die. Blonde 5 elders roared. Of course, he did not directly attack Ye Chen with liquid metal, but trapped Ye Chen with them. Of course, the liquid metal can't hold Ye Chen for long, and even Ye Chen can blast them away with a punch as long as he frees his hands. However, in the duel between the positive masters, the outcome is often at this moment. When others see this, they will naturally not miss such a good offensive opportunity. So, except for the ant who was kicked by Ye Chen, everyone else attacked Ye Chen almost at this moment. La shock. Curly hair 5 elders roared. A shock wave blasted towards Ye Chen. One sword flow, water flooded the world. Big swords 5 elders once again used his one sword style. Boom. The sword energy swept from all directions, like a monstrous flood, and even submerged the world. Gravity knife fire festival. Death coil green. Fanatical collision. Continuous breath. Boom. Bang. Rumble. Various powerful moves greeted Ye Chen. The explosion came after another. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If people from outside see what is happening here, they are afraid that they will not be dumbfounded. Ha 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 ha. However, in the face of everyone's siege, Ye Chen did not fear at all, but became more and more excited. There are not many opportunities like this, how could he not be excited? Just right, let you see all the 4 styles of Chi Kanha Taito. The knife is coming. Following Ye Chen's stern shout, his right hand was on his body, and he immediately sensed his call to Ryūjin Jakka, who was stuck on the ground, and immediately broke free from the ground and flew towards Ye Chen. Stop it. Broadsword 5 elders spoke to the white-haired 5 elders. Okay, leave it to me. White-haired 5 elders immediately stopped attacking Ye Chen, only to see him stretch out his hand in the air and grabbed Ryūjin Jakka. He obviously didn't move or stretched his hand, but he didn't know why. Ryūjin Jakka, who was far away from him, was still caught by him. But the fact that others did not see any clues does not mean that Ye Chen did not see it. Ye Chen could see clearly. At the moment when the white-haired 5 elders reached out, his hand turned into gray beard and hair, and he swept towards Ryūjin Jakka at an extremely fast speed. It is precisely because of this that he was able to intercept Ryūjin Jakka from such a long distance. It is not good news for Ye Chen to display Ryūjin Jakka, the weapon necessary for the cannibal's sword. However, instead of panicking, Ye Chen looked at the white-haired five elders very playfully. Besides him, there are people who grab Ryūjin Jakka directly with their hands. That's not looking for death what it is. Boom. Ryūjin Jakka was caught by the white-haired five elders. Setsuna suddenly burst into a dazzling light. The terrifying high temperature immediately burned the white-haired five elders and burned his arm directly to ashes. Ryūjin Jakka is produced by the system and is bound to Ye Chen. As long as you are not its owner and try to control it, you will be hurt by it. The white-haired five elders is good, but he is wrong. He thinks that Ryūjin Jakka is like the supreme knives and black knives in this world. As long as they have the strength, anyone can control it. How is this possible? What? The arm was instantly burned to ashes, and the white-haired five elders screamed. He is not a blonde five elders, he does not have the physique of liquid metal. After his arm was burned to ashes, he naturally couldn't recover zero. Keiichi. When the other five elders saw this, they couldn't help but scream. Unfortunately, this is not the time to worry about others. After Ryūjin Jakka broke free of his white hair, five elders, he flew straight to Ye Chen. In the next second, it has fallen into Ye Chen's hands. Ye Chen grabbed Ryūjin Jakka and glanced at the people in front of him, with a terrifying smile on his face. Try it, catch this trick. Can't catch it, but it will die. With that, Ye Chen's tone suddenly changed, becoming very harsh and cold. Can Huo Tai Dao Bei the ashes of heaven and earth? As Ye Chen's cold voice sounded, the whole world changed color. At this moment, the blue sky and white sun, and the bright universe, refused to accept the existence. The whole world, it seems, only high temperature and ashes are left. Yes, everything was turned into ashes by the high temperature. This trick is already so powerful before it is released. It is conceivable how huge damage it will bring to the outside world if this trick is used by the outside world. Fortunately, even if everything in the spiritual time house is destroyed and burned to ashes, it will recover by itself after a while. So, here, Ye Chen doesn't have to suppress his own strength at all, just a quick fight. What's the matter? Are all the things just turned into ashes? How can that be? Stop talking nonsense, go all out. Maybe, everything is just thunder and rain. Facing Ye Chen's blow from the air, everyone's complexion changed drastically. At the same time, they spared no effort to explode their full strength. Call out, call out. Ye Chen cut out two swords in an instant with extremely fast speed. One horizontal and vertical, it happens to form a cross cut. Then, Ye Chen didn't even look at it, and put the Ryūjin Jakka in his hand back into the scabbard. Boom. The earth-shaking sword energy burst out. The sword chi turned everything it touched into ashes. The blonde five elders trapped Ye Chen's liquid metal, Kaido's breath, the curly hair's shock wave of five elders, and the big knife five elders slash. Chapter 225. Everything, after the heaven and earth ashes, was swept away, all disappeared into ashes and ceased to exist. Impossible. It's so powerful. This, absolutely impossible. Even if you really have half a month to practice, this progress is too ridiculous. Everyone was shocked. Recalling that half an hour ago, the 9 of them teamed up to deal with Ye Chen, at least they could barely fight. But now, they can't even fight Ye Chen with one move. What the hell is this? Wow. Ye Chen is too strong. After smashing everyone's offense, the sword energy still didn't dissipate, and it went straight to the five elders and the others. No, run. What are you running? Our 9 strongest team members, maybe. Perhaps a shit. This knife is definitely not something we can resist. He is right. Run. That's too late. For a time, everyone was in chaos and fled one after another. However, there are always people who react slowly. For example, the ant who happened to be back at this time. This product was kicked by Ye Chen 09 and was seriously injured. He endured the pain and ran back desperately. Originally, he wanted to join the crowd and jointly show Ye Chen a little bit more vigorously. However, she knew that she had just rushed back and rushed forward, only to realize that everyone was retreating, and she was the only one rushing forward. When she felt the sword energy that destroyed the world, she was shocked. However, let alone retreat at this time, it is difficult to even stop. In extreme panic, she could only ask everyone for help. Help me. How to save it? Please ask yourself. Kaido said something unscrupulously. He transformed into a dragon form and fled for his old life, so that he would not care about the affection of his former companions and save her. Now, who is not the most important thing to save their lives? Seeing the sword energy that destroys the world and the earth is about to be cut on the ant's body, cutting her directly in half. At this moment, a voice full of arrogance suddenly sounded. Look at me. Then, when everyone was only caring about their own lives, a golden streamer rushed up and stopped in front of the ant. He turned out to be blonde five elders. Are you looking for death? Ye Chen saw this, but just sneered. Not only him, but Kaido, Fujitora and Green Bull also think that the blonde five elders is looking for death. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Could it be that he didn't feel the terrifying aura of the knife, heaven and earth ashes? That's an aura that destroys the world, how can a mere mortal be able to resist it? However, things are always unexpected. Puff. The sword chi slashed on the blonde five elders. As expected, even if it was covered with armament haki, it was still just like tofu, it was cut into two pieces by the sword chi. After the blonde five elders was cut in half, the two bodies quickly liquid metal in an attempt to escape. However, at this moment, something terrible happened. The sword energy broke out in an instant, and the raging sword energy instantly turned the blonde hair into liquid metal. Five elders vanished and ceased to exist. Yes, under the horrified eyes of everyone, the blonde five elders just dissipated under the raging knife gas, even if he turned into liquid metal, it was useless. The raging sword energy destroyed even one element. Blonde five elders, just die like this. However, Ye Chen's face was a bit solemn. Suddenly, the voice of the blonde five elders rang again. That's it, Ye Chen, no matter how powerful you are, you can't kill me. I am immortal, Jia 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 Jia. The blonde five elders burst into crazy laughter. Kaido, Anti, Fujitora, and Green Bull, who originally thought that the blonde five elders had died, realized that he was not dead. When they looked at the place where the sound was sounding, they suddenly found that there were countless particles in the air condensing them. It was metal molecules in the air, gathered together, and gradually formed a pool of liquid metal. When the liquid metal condensed enough, it began to transform and became the appearance of the blonde five elders again. What is going on? Is he really immortal? When the Green Bull saw this, he was surprised. He knew that the five elders were all hidden deep and had extraordinary strengths, but he never expected that there would be such a person among them. Immortal. Fujitora, what do you think this is going on? You don't even see the slightest clue in your mind. Green Bull couldn't help looking at Fujitora. No, even with the eyes of the old man, he can't see exactly what is going on. It seems that as long as there are metal molecules in the air, he can constantly regenerate through these condensed metal molecules. Fujitora shook her head and said, his mind only sees more than others, but he can't see through everything. It's really incredible. It's more powerful than the 9-time scarecrow that cursed the fruit to replace death. Green Bull murmured. He knew that five elders were incredible guys. Otherwise, as the rulers of the world government, they will not be able to inform the entire world for hundreds of years. Fujitora, Green Bull, this is not the time to chat, the sword aura has been weakened, let's go together, break the sword aura, and take down Ye Chen. Kaido shouted. With that, he stopped running away, turned around, took a breath of dragon, and spit out towards the sword air. For him, today is not Ye Chen dead, or he is dead. Indeed, after the blonde five elders resisted, the sword energy that ruined the world was indeed weak. Although it was still strong, it was not as strong as it was at the beginning. The 9 of them teamed up, and it was enough to break the sword spirit. Yes, let's go together. The blonde five elders also urged. Then, relying on his immortality, he rushed forward again, using his body to hit the sword energy. When other people heard this, they naturally stopped their fleeing steps, came back to their senses, used their magical powers to fight against the sword energy. Gravity meteor. The emerald green of death. One sword flow, water flooded the earth. Boom. When. Boom. As everyone displayed their magical powers and confronted the sword aura, huge movements continued to sound. Ye Chen now seems to be transformed into a big boss. The sword spirit he displayed made five elders and others who were attacking the big boss a headache. At last, under the constant attack of everyone, the sword energy was finally shattered. Kenhuo Tai Dao's strongest style, the ashes of heaven and earth, was broken by everyone. Of course, they also paid a huge price. Kaido, known as the strongest creature in the world, was injured again. The ant was also knocked into the air again. As for the others, they also suffered injuries of various degrees. The only one who was not injured was the blonde five elders.